Good afternoon, everyone. It is Pal Ponder on Weather coming to you live with storm coverage this afternoon. We've already got some severe storms already kind of breaking out just kind of northwest of the DFW Metroplex. And of course, Oklahoma, where they've already had several tornado warnings up there by the Ada, Oklahoma area. They've already had some fairly significant hail. We had some golf ball size hail out towards those areas south of Wichita Falls, up towards the Bowie region. So things are starting to kind of evolve now as we're planning on things to start bubbling up around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. So hey, how's it going, everyone? Thanks for kind of tuning in. You should be hearing me live from on Facebook as well as YouTube here. So here's the latest update. Let's first talk about the tornado watch. So they did in fact include about 13 counties under this tornado watch, and it's mainly for those areas north of the Metroplex. And in fact, it actually doesn't include those areas into Fort Worth as well as into Dallas. It's mainly going to be, say for example, north of 121 towards Flower Mound, Plano, and then northward to the Red River into Oklahoma. And there's also a piece of energy. They went ahead and extended the tornado watch for those areas further south into Breckenridge, Weatherford, those areas, and then northbound. So you can see the activity, what we're talking about. Yes, a few tornadoes are possible with this dynamic system that's going to be moving across the Metroplex this afternoon. And unfortunately, some of these tornadoes could be actually intense. We've already had confirmation yesterday that one by Santo was a category 2, 105 mile per hour. The National Weather Service will still be doing the surveys on yet another one that would likely actually be another tornado. And then they haven't gotten to the ones into Collin County last night. If in fact something did form, we obviously saw plenty of footage of funnels, but we don't have any confirmation of something actually lowering to the surface. So they'll be out doing their surveys, but obviously you can tell there's they're pretty busy right now working with today's data. So it might not be maybe until tomorrow, maybe even the next day before we maybe find out what's actually come out of what happened just last night. But of course, we got more action that's going to be happening tonight. So unfortunately, the dynamics are set, the stage is set, the atmosphere is prime for some larger hail. We've already had confirmation up there, golf ball size hail. This atmosphere could easily go tennis ball, baseball, maybe even some isolated softball size reports would not be out of the question in this type of atmosphere with the 100-mile-per-hour updraft. These storms are going to be moving very quickly. So it's going to be one of those situations. Unfortunately, it's going to have little to no warning on these things as they rapidly shift off to the northeast. You can kind of zoom in here and what we're talking about, this action further south into Dallas. This is really, I'm not really concerned about it. Obviously, the atmosphere is pretty soupy. Yesterday, we topped out around 85 degrees. I think we're right there today. We're 84. You can see peaks of sun. Those obviously, it's never good on days like this. So we're just kind of jumping on board kind of early, if you will, because all this activity further south, I'm not really too concerned about this actually turning severe. It's this stuff up here. It's the ones that are northwest, and it's still pretty good ways from the actual immediate Metroplex. So right now we're talking about these storms around Henrietta, those storms around Nocona, back towards Jacksboro. These are isolated supercells. Now, I want to stress, folks, this is an isolated event, and this is what makes this so severe. As we saw last night, there were only like 2 or 3 supercells out there, but every one of them had a tornado with it, or at least a tornado warned with it, and had some significant hail with some significant winds. And that's what makes this severe. So it's going to be one of those things. If you live in the Metroplex, there's only going to be about 30% of you are likely going to see possible severe weather today. 40% has the probability even seeing rain. There's going to be 60% of you say, hey, pal, I never even rained a drop in my house. That is the nature of beast when it's more severe. When we're talking severe stuff, that's why it's a dangerous day, because it's an isolated event. And if you're underneath one of those, it's going to be packing a punch. But if you're outside of it, then nothing's happened, right? Nothing happened. So that is the nature of beast of severe storms. It's not a heavy rain event. This is not like a widespread heavy rain event to any stretch of the imagination. These are isolated supercells that pack big time hail producers and tornadic producers. This is the dynamics that we're talking about today. So you can already see further north. We've already had some significant hail. You see the motion here. This is northeast. This is going to be the continued motion, likely for the duration of the event. So we're going to be seeing storms. They're going to be forming off to the northwest, slightly shifting east, but predominantly shifting northeast as they move across from west to east, from north of 121 and then into Oklahoma. So we've already have several tornado warnings up here for the Oklahoma region. This is the Oklahoma City radar. So right now there's a tornado warning associated with this storm near the Allen area. This is in Oklahoma, folks. Allen, Oklahoma, producing some golf ball size hail. These are lifting northbound at a pretty good clip. See, 60 miles an hour. That is 60 miles an hour. That's not a misprint. That's going to be the movement on these storms today. This is what we're talking about. So these are storms. You've been on the freeway. You go 60 miles an hour, right? That is very fast. So imagine, me as a forecaster and the National Weather Service sitting there and say, hey, should be an issue a warning, but it's moving 60 miles an hour. So, yes, a lot can happen when the radar updates every 2 or 3 minutes. You're going to get some holes in the data today. It's going to be one of those days because of the fast movement nature of the storm. We may not be able to see every single tornado warning that's going to be transpired or that should be issued because these storms are moving just so quickly today. So it's going to be one of those, even a more dangerous day, even though this is the daytime event and it comes at peak heating. That's the more concerning about this is obviously what happened yesterday. We're fuel in the atmosphere. You always have kind of the stronger storms at towards peak heating or early evening time frame because you have a lot more heat energy to work with. Storms love warmer air. And I don't need to tell you, same situation as yesterday. You walk outside and it feels like a wet blanket out there. I mean, it's nasty. It's really muggy. It's got the dew points in the low to mid 70s. It's got temperatures in the mid to upper 80s now. And you got heat indices, like 95 range, right? And it's getting into late May. And it is one of those time frames that's favorable for tornadic supercells, just exactly what we saw last year. We're coming up on the anniversary of the Valley View tornado, which ended up being the deadliest tornado last year. Unfortunately, 7 people lost their lives. That was on May 23rd. Look at the calendar. This is May 19th, right? So this is the favored time of year where you typically have higher dew points. You start to creep up in temperature because you're coming out of spring. You're heading into summer. But you got all that moisture content in the atmosphere. So the next couple of weeks is one of those prime time frames out there that we even need to be paying more alert because this is when you get the most significant hail producers. Remember last year, we broke the state record, 7.25 inches. A storm in the Panhandle had pineapple size hail, folks. Yeah, almost the largest in history. South Dakota, 8 inches. Yeah, 7.25 inches. So you only get that when dynamics are ripe, and you only get that it's like usually later in the season where we are going into the first couple of weeks of June. So with the next 3 or 4 weeks there, it's definitely concerning because not every week is going to be a severe weather week. Like we come down tomorrow, things are starting to kind of lull out, but then they ramp back up again for Sunday before Memorial Day, and actually that Tuesday after Memorial Day definitely looks pretty bumpy. So we'll have some lulls in the action. So you appreciate the lulls before it gets active again. And then, by the time the middle of June rolls around, most of the stuff would likely lift further north. And then you just get activity just here and there, and you get more of the ridge start to take shape and start to kind of take over everything, really. So yeah, but it's just a couple concerning cells. You can see out this storm by Henrietta had some golf ball size hail earlier. That was just about 301. So that was only about 20 minutes ago, folks. So this is already producing some fairly nasty stuff out there. This is south of Henrietta. This is around 235. This was another train spotter confirming some golf ball size hail with these supercells. And so we'll watch activity that's trying to form, out ahead of this main line. But more or less, if the longer you can keep these supercells kind of separated from one another, the more severe they're going to be. Just like yesterday when we were watching several days of live coverage kind of congeal, and then that one storm split. The northern branch went north, the southern branch went south. And then we had that storm last night, the one that had the tornado warning further south that already dropped the two tornadoes. Everybody thought that was the one to watch. All of a sudden, that one completely died off. And the one further north towards Decatur, once it hit Denton, it just blew up. We saw the rotation there. It started spinning in the upper levels, and then it formed that kind of hook echo on the southern side. And there's been, a lot of videos. I appreciate every one of you that shared what you saw last night. So I would be really surprised if nothing came out of that last night. Out of southeast Denton, like Little Elm, Corinth, those areas in Frisco, back into Prosper, into West McKinney, all that area was rotating big time. So I'd be shocked if something didn't lower to the surface at between, Little Elm to West McKinney. So, hey, how's it going, everyone? I know I've been talking a lot. This makes my stomach hurt a lot. This weather's been scary. Yeah, I understand it. Unfortunately, this is the time of year, folks. This is the Southern Plains. You got into this is like peak season. So a lot of times, people love living in Texas, but I know they don't like typically this part because obviously you can cause a lot of damage with these big time storms, but it doesn't last forever. And so we know there's an end in sight with these, but we got to get past typically that first week of June, get towards that middle of June before things really start to settle down. But we are unfortunately going into those prime time next 3 weeks where, not every day is going to be active. We're definitely going to have your lulls in there. So you just kind of appreciate the lulls when you have them. And then when it gets active again, you got to just be prepared and stay alert and, just kind of hope for the best. And then things will start to wind down tomorrow with a little cool front. It'll feel really kind of nice. It won't be as coarse as muggy as it's been the last week or so out there. Yeah, so we got some activity out towards the Gainesville region. So that one's kind of holding its own. So, like I said, if you're just kind of tuning in, I'm not really too terribly concerned about this stuff further south. Yes, you're likely going to get rain towards Ennis and Kaufman and Terrell and Garland. This is really a not event for you guys. This is mainly where the tornado watch is. This is mainly going to be those northern areas, those areas that live north of the I-121 corridor. Those are the ones we're mainly concerned about. And of course, into Oklahoma, where things are already getting going. So you can see this significant storm that continues to strengthen up here in southern Oklahoma. We have a developing supercell that's producing some baseball size hail now, folks, some baseball size hail just south of the Grady region. This is in Oklahoma heading to Ardmore, Oklahoma. So we've got a destructive tag on this, producing some significant winds along the leading edge and moving eastbound about 35 miles an hour, and it is tornado warned. So we do have a tornado warning for those areas into the Lone Grove region, Leon, places like into Grady. Those areas need to take shelter immediately with this developing supercell that's got some nasty baseball size hail with it, producing some pretty significant damaging winds and some 60-mile-per-hour winds with it. But mainly it's a big time hail producer, and unfortunately now has turned tornadic. So this is just on the Oklahoma border. This is the city of Nocona. This is Highway 82 here, Highway 82. There is Henrietta. It's the cell just north of there. As it's lifting northeast towards that Leon area, it's become even stronger, producing some damaging baseball size hail. And now it is rotating as well. So we're going to do the best we can, folks. We're going to be toggling back and forth to, we've got the tornado watch extends pretty far north, right? This is all up the plains event. This is goes well up into Nebraska, goes well into Kansas, even all the way up here into Missouri. So these storms are going to be forming and racing northeast. So it's getting going a little bit earlier up into Oklahoma, which was expected. We already have several tornado warnings unfolding up there. We've got yet another one towards the Henrietta region. That's going to be heading towards those areas into Henrietta. We don't have anything on the ground at the moment, but we definitely are expecting numerous tornadoes. This is likely going to be a tornado outbreak day. This is unfortunately one of those days for Kansas and much of Oklahoma. This is kind of only the start of it. So, and then of course, North Texas just kind of gets the tail end of it, if you will. You're actually on the tail end of the most active weather. The Oklahoma area is under a moderate risk. Much of North Texas, north of 121, is under that enhanced risk for storms. So we'll be watching these storms up here from the northwest. Hey, anything coming to the 380 corridor, Denton and Collin counties, Diego? Yes, it will. It's just going to be a while, right? We're doing live coverage. It's only 3:30. This tornado watch goes until 9. So yes, I'm fully expecting storms to be, back into the Denton region, back into McKinney, but it won't be until, late this afternoon into early evening time frame. Still several hours away. We're watching these storms, into Bowie, into Henrietta. These are lifting northeast and then slightly moving east. So it's going to be a while as they move across from west to east. Hey, anything coming to the 380 corridor, Marcia? Where's the dry line? It should be somewhere in the vicinity of, towards Abilene, getting into Graham. It's going to retreat a little bit further east than it was yesterday. So it's going to be a little bit closer as it comes in from west to east, but it's likely out here towards Albany, towards Breckenridge. Hey, Stormy, thanks for coming on here. Yeah, these storms are going to be flying today, folks. Every single one of them, mainly, especially the ones that are further south, are going to be moving at a pretty good clip, maybe slightly not as fast into Oklahoma, but especially the ones in North Texas are going to be screaming northeast at 55, 60, some words, sometimes 65 miles an hour at times. It is just one of those days you got to keep on high alert to the weather because things can turn fairly quickly. So, obviously today is a day you do not want to see the sun. We're getting peaks of sun out there. So obviously that is not a good thing. The hotter we can get, the more fuel that's going to fuel these thunderstorms for later. So it's a kind of a building process, if you will. Hey, Erica. Yeah, seeing some sun is a bad sign in Prosper. Yes, unfortunately, on days like this, it is one of those days where you get a highly volatile day, and anytime you can fuel the atmosphere with more heat content, that's never good, right? We've been in these situations where you've had the temperatures in the 70s, right? And you got the cold front to the north, and you got dew points in the 50s, and we got severe weather coming, and it's like, well, not really. I mean, it could turn severe, but the dynamics aren't really there. But this is a different beast. Obviously, I don't need to tell you, it's muggy out there, right? You got dew points in into the 70s, 75. You really only need 55 to produce severe weather. We're about 20 higher than that. So that's a plenty of fuel, right? And we've got temperatures in the mid 80s, approaching going to 90 degrees, in another hour or two. That's not a good sign. And of course, you've got the lift coming in from the west. You got 100-mile-per-hour low level jet. You got updrafts approaching 100 miles an hour. That's why we got cloud tops almost 60,000 feet last night. So I knew when it hit 60,000 feet, it was pretty concerning, because that's very rare when something like that happens, and you got a pretty good ceiling to work with, and you've got a lot of room. And once it hits that level, then it's probably going to be, an extended period of time, right? So we'll just look at some of these cloud tops right now and uh, see what we're talking about here, dealing with today. So there you go. I mean, we're right there, folks. Look at that storm by Henrietta. That is 60,000 feet. Yeah, so it's there. We're there. That is 11 miles up in the atmosphere. That is some serious stuff. So basically, what that kind of means in layman's terms, obviously, you got 11 miles of the atmosphere, right? You got 100-mile updraft. So as hail starts to form up there, because it's really cold, it falls to the surface, but that updraft pulls it back up in the atmosphere, and that's how we get that bigger hail. So it's kind of a fight that happens in the atmosphere. So that hailstone gets stronger, so it falls even faster, but that updraft is still strong enough to kick it back up in the atmosphere. So every time it goes back into the atmosphere, it goes up even higher, and it gets colder the higher up it goes. And then it obviously gets bigger. So it's a fight. It's one of those things. Until that updraft is weak enough to allow that hail to hit the surface, that's when it actually has ground truth. But if the updraft is strong enough, it will continue to push that hailstone back up in the atmosphere, and that's how you get that even more significant baseball to tennis ball to softball size hail. Even they have some DVD types, type reported, right? You only get that type of stuff when it's 60,000 feet, right? 60,000 feet, if dynamics are right, you can get a softball size hail. You can get a DVD type size hailstone that comes out of that atmosphere. So definitely concerning to see those cloud tops like basically already there, right? So you've got that clearance already, and we're still well early into the event. You still got a good 6, 7, 8 hours left of the event. So that means we got to watch the supercell big time. So sometimes one little supercell can cause an extensive amount of damage. All the stuff they had in Kentucky, they had long track supercell that were on the ground for like 500 miles, right? So once you get to something like this caliber, it can go for many, many, many miles, right? So you only need a couple of these supercells and to do extensive damage, because it does drop some significant hail or even a producing tornado for an extended period of time. That's what happened last year in Valley View. That's how we got that significant tornado that was on the ground for ended up being 47 miles and unfortunately killed those 7 people. Right. And then it pulsed down. And then what happened? It ramped back up again when it hit to Salina. And that's when it bumped back up to an EF4. This was just literally this time last year. And then it moved over to Weston. And then it's tried to come back towards Melissa before it kind of petered out there towards, like, say, the Buc-ee's area. So I know a lot of you guys remember that. But we're getting into the anniversary of that event, and we're getting into those similar type dynamics, unfolding, unfortunately. So, but yeah, this cloud top is really significant. I mean, it's holding right up there in the upper 60s and the upper 50s, 60 to 60,000 foot range. So we'll be watching this supercell continuing to likely intensify and dropping some significant hail in its wake. The Weatherford area, again, well, these are going to be storms from the northwest, unless we've got activity forming further south. I know Weatherford is under the tornado watch, but I can probably tell you they're not like a favorable area, I would say, today. your most favorable area are going to be, north of 121 and primarily north of 380. So if you live Jacksboro, Bridgeport, Decatur, Denton, McKinney, northbound, those are your favorite areas. Gunner, Sanger, Valley View, Albert, the Munster, Lindsay, Gainesville, Collinsville, Whitesboro, South Maid, into Sherman, further north into Thackerville, into Durant, Pottsboro. Yeah, these areas are likely the more favorite area. Bonham, these areas towards the north, towards the Red River. It's this activity that I'm concerned about right here. That's going to be primarily moving northeast, but it is going to be moving east. So you can see the southern flank of this storm. It's basically right here towards the Jacksboro region. So it's likely most of the activity will follow this line northbound, right? So that's what I'm kind of anticipating how these storms evolve. Whether we get something to form further south than that, it's not out of the question. It's just not as likely, considering what we're working with the dynamics, because most of the energy is going to be into Oklahoma and into Kansas, right? So that you got to realize this goes well north, all the way into Nebraska. It goes, we got tornado watches that go all the way into Omaha, Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, includes Kansas City, back into the Wichita region, into Springfield. It's a wide area where we do have that tornado watch in place, and we are expecting significant tornadoes today. And this is not really a day that say, hey, I want some rain, right? You can't really get, I mean, this is not a rain type of event day. This is a supercell, large hail tornado type day. So it is one of those things. Oh, I missed my house. I wish I would have got some rain. No, you don't want really one of these things. Like if it's in your area, you're likely going to get some high impact event, either gusty winds, either some hail, or potential tornadic activity. It's not just going to be, oh, it's got close and you got a little rain. So because we're not really expecting, terribly too much rain. This is all just kind of scattered, miscellaneous type stuff. So there are other events out there that, hey, it's a rain event, but this is not classified as a rain event at any stretch of the imagination. This is really a high impact, isolated to scattered supercell day from big time hail producers and tornadic producers. Yeah, very fast moving supercells, upwards to 60 miles an hour. So when we can just pick one here, and I'll show you what we're talking about. This is just moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. So this is moving northeast at 55. So you can just pick any one of these. That one's only 35. But if you get caught in this, the ones that are basically lifting just due northeast, those are the ones that are going to be lifting, moving fairly quickly. Hey, Deborah. Yeah, very windy in Salina right now. Hey, I can probably take the tornado watch off, right? Everybody kind of knows we're under tornado watch. All right, so we currently have 3 radar indicated tornadoes. So we have the one just along the Texas border here that does include most of Leon, Marietta, does head into the Ardmore region. So we have a radar indicated tornado with strong rotation, uh, with this supercell just likely north of Leon there into southern Oklahoma. And Frisco off of Dallas Toll Road and Main Street. It's very windy and super sunny outside. Let's see. DFW Airport, we're at 83 degrees. Reporting dew point is 73. Yeah, just about where we were yesterday. We topped out around 85 there. Yeah, the weather's been a little crazy, right? We've a couple days we dodged a bullet, and then little surprise last night with a couple. I think there were three separate times those warnings went off. And I know that second time it came back, it probably caught a lot of people off guard and didn't realize we were actually back under another tornado warning, because you don't really typically get back to back type stuff, and that's what happened in Kentucky, and that's why they had a deadly tornado in Kentucky. They had a storm that went through and ripped apart, did a lot of damage, and then they had another one like an hour later, and unfortunately people had like nowhere to go. Like they weren't there is no safe place. They basically didn't even have a roof, and just obviously did devastating damage. So, okay, so yeah, I mean, you can see this storm. It's continued to move further northeast. So now we have that storm that just north of Jacksboro is lifting up towards the Bowie region. So we still have the continued movement off to the east, but predominantly, at least for right now, staying mainly north of Highway 380. So this is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning. So it does include areas of Montague, Wise, and Jack County. So this is the storm that's basically formed near Jacksboro and continued to move northeastbound, right around 30 miles an hour or so with this particular cell. And it's packing some 60-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter size hail, some lightning with it, and you know, and moving, like I said, moving about northeast around 35 miles an hour or so. But yeah, we're gonna have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings today. We're likely gonna have numerous tornado warnings today. This thing kind of kicked off on Friday. It went to Saturday, moved through Sunday. Then of course we have today on Monday, and then tomorrow it continues, points east. Unfortunately, Kentucky again, Western Tennessee again. You got southern portions of Mississippi again, or at least the northern portions. So we've already had about 100 tornado reports since Friday. So it's already been a very active, off the charts record March. We had another active April, and then May is again. It's had some lulls, and May is always the most active month, but I mean, we're literally over 800 tornadoes now for the year, and we're well on our way to get to 1,000 probably by the end of May. Hey, Anna, the kids are out at 440. Yes, Sarah, I think you'll be fine. I mean, you live in Anna, so that's on the eastern side. Everything's northwest. Will be moving from west to east. It's probably not going to be in Anna till, I would say, probably 7, 8, 9 o'clock tonight. Hey, when in Frisco downtown, it's supposed to get bad. Yeah, I would say in a couple of hours or so. We're just jumping on live early. Everything's northwest along the Red River in Oklahoma. Yeah, the main time frame as we get closer to the metroplex, 5 to 10 o'clock per se. If you want to zoom it down even further, depending on where you live. But you get the idea. These storms are moving northeast, and they're in Bowie, they're in Henrietta, they're in Ardmore. Right, they're moving northeast with a slight movement east. So it's they're gonna take a while, as they move from west to east across the northern tier of the metroplex. Most of the activity right now, I was obviously in Oklahoma. They started a lot sooner than than the, for areas in North Texas. Things got going about 1 o'clock up there into Oklahoma. So things started well early for them. Hey, Aaron. Yeah, Van Alstyne, Tioga area, Paris, Clarksville time frame. Hey, Joshua. Yeah, if you live in Paris, I mean it's like 10 o'clock. I mean you're well east. You're going to be towards that 10 o'clock time frame. I think it's starting just about where we thought it was going to start. Most events from west to east. It's already bubbling up. It's not even 4 o'clock now. We've got a ton of activity from into northwestern portions you know of North Texas, right along the Red River into Oklahoma. Yeah, I mean, I would say if you live east of DFW, you're easily going to be after 7 o'clock, towards that 8 o'clock time frame. You know, further into the evening, the further east you live. Hey, getting dark now into Trinity Falls. Yeah, so if we zoom in, yeah, there's not much happening towards for most of the Metroplex, the immediate Metroplex. There's not really much going on right now. We got the tornado watch for 121 northbound, 121 northbound. That's likely going to be the most favored area. But you can see these cells are kind of on top of each other. Actually, they're trying to kind of merge together, if you will. So, yeah, these storms. If you look at this now, right? So you've got a couple cells, right? You got the one in Bowie that's producing some quarter size hail. You've got another one that's coming out of Henrietta towards Nakona that's producing some little bit bigger hail right there. That's 82. Just had a confirmed, golf ball size hail report out there. And then of course we have the tornado warning that's still warned up here, which even more sick, a little bit higher, a little bit bigger hail with this particular supercell up to baseball size. So you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously, it's a big difference when you're talking quarter size hail and baseball size hail. Baseball size hail pretty much damages pretty much everything it touches, from cars to roofs to shutters to patio furniture to air conditioned units, you name it. It's going to be doing some damage because that type of stuff comes that's when we have those cloud tops at 55, 60,000 feet. That's when they're coming about 80, 90 miles down, 90 miles an hour. And that's why they do more, significant damage depending on the angle of the windshield and stuff. It could easily, break out the windshield, and those supercells fall in that fast. But it is one of those days that if you happen to get off work, you'd probably want to just head home, right? It's always the best. It's not one of those days that, hey, I'm going to go to the grocery store, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to hang out. Oh, I got a soccer. I mean, it's probably one of those days. We know it's going to be nice tomorrow, right? So if you get off work and if you can put it off until tomorrow, that would highly advise that. Just no better place is inside your own home, and safe and secure, and buckle down if something comes near. Because if you're out in the elements, we already know there's severe storms, right? We already know that's a possibility. So it's one of those things. Tomorrow you got all the time in the world. You got temperatures in the low 80s, if not upper 70s. You got sunshine galore. You've got lower humidity. You got all the time in the world to do whatever you want. But it's always better to be safe and put yourself out of harm's way, and not put yourself out in the elements. And the less people out there on the roads, the better, right? So Hey, I wish we had a better shelter. It feels like our house is only exterior. Hey, what time frame are we thinking about Princeton and Farmersville? I mean, again, you live pretty far east, so just like last night, but by the time they actually made it to Princeton and Farmersville, they actually kind of fizzled out. So they may or may not even make it that far, right? I mean, they odds are they're probably going to be lifting northeast. So it's a good part that you may not even get anything in Farmersville or Princeton tonight. That's a possibility because you again you live pretty far east from the storms right now that are in Wichita Falls. Yeah, I would say this the same thing for Melissa. It's going to be towards 8, 9, 10 o'clock. Kind of the similar dynamics last night. It was heading towards Melissa towards like 10:30. Um, same type of setup. If they need to extend the severe thunderstorm, the tornado watch, they will. But they only issue the watches so far out. So they always issue the watches early, right? They give you a pretty good cushion to let you know well ahead of time. Say, hey, we got a more favorable area, more favorable concerned area, in about an hour or two, right? So the watch issued at 2 o'clock. It's been going on for 2 hours already, and most of the watch areas there's been nothing going on, right? So, but the watch goes until 9, and if they need to extend it as we get towards that 7:30, and it looks like just like what happened last night, they started the storms out west, right? They started with the tornado watch out west. We had two little supercells that formed, had tornado warnings with them, and as they moved eastbound, they're like, hey, that's probably going to hold together. So let's go ahead and extend their tornado watch. And when they did, yeah, those things held together. They held their own. The southern branch fizzled out. The northern branch got more intense as it pressed Denton and going into Collin County. And then it went ahead and let expire. The watch let expire at 10, even though we still had an additional warning that actually took place even after the actual tornado watch even was allowed to expire. So, um, but yeah, they will certainly be extending the tornado watch if need be, and most of the data has still storms around past 9 o'clock. So I would probably likely be they're going to be extending that 5 hours from now. Hey, the sun is shining in Frisco. It's so deceiving. Yeah, it is one of those days. I mean, again, the sun is not a good thing, right? You want cloud cover on days like this. You want overcast. You want as much overcast as possible. So the sun is it's always the opposite, especially the clearer days. It's sometimes the worst days are when it's just clear as a bell, right? There ain't nothing in the sky. Those are obviously even the worst days. But yeah, right now, storm sun is not your friend when on days like this. What about bottom? Yeah, I mean, again, it's as these move northeast into the northern tier, you are in a favorable area to see storms. It's just going to be a while. You're easily probably 4 hours away by the time they make it to bottom. You see, for the most part, all that activity down towards Dallas pretty much cleared out, just like I was expecting. So, I mean, if it forms further south, then this is probably just going to be your garden variety shower, quick shower, maybe some rumbles of thunder. But that's not the part we're concerned about. It's everything's northwest. Those are the ones that we're going to be concerned about tonight. What about Decatur? Well, I mean, they're gonna have to build further south, right? So we see beginning stages of them trying to build out west, and they'll move east. So again, it's just going to be a while before Decatur. Hey, what do I say about Melissa? Yeah, again, Melissa's east of the Metroplex, folks. It's going to be a while. You do the math. It's from Melissa to Decatur. That's about what is it, 90? I think I looked about 100 miles, and they're not even actually in Decatur yet. So I mean, it's a ways away. It's over 100. Over 100 miles away, and from Melissa. Hey, Amber, Gunner. Yeah, so Gunner's likely going to be, again towards another 2 or 3 hours or so. All right, so we'll have to watch this. I mean, you got to watch any little thing that pops up in this environment, so because everything can turn, get stronger fairly quickly. Obviously, the atmosphere is pretty prime right now, so even though this doesn't look like much of anything, this is typically how they start, right? You got a little shower that popped up right around 380 into Denton region. You got to remember this could be possibly an outflow boundary, right? You got to remember those. This is the storm that left that tornado warning and possible rotation along this edge. So this is where the storms ended last night, which typically puts an outflow boundary, and that will likely maybe set the stage for new storms development today. So that's something we got to watch out for too. Is this the beginning of storms forming along the outflow boundary? We'll wait to see if we have more activity before we can say, hey, this is the outflow boundary. But this is definitely a good sign. This is actually a sign that the storms left off last night could be seeing the beginning stages of activity from an outflow boundary that's been left over from last night. Hey, it rained a little bit in yeah, Greenville. Yeah, you can see this rain. This is just garden variety showers. Yeah, just a very soupy air mass. I mean, obviously, you've got a lot of warm air further to the south. You've got a lot of water vapor in the atmosphere. You got the upward rising motion, air mass. So it's not going to really take much to kind of wring out some precipitation. These are more elevated storms, I would say, further south. Yeah, the air feels angry, stuffy, and it's just yeah, it's I mean, again, yeah, it's pretty muggy outside, right? Yeah, thanks for tuning in to live coverage last night. Wow, it got really intense. I actually had a lot of people watching me at one time. Like I think I got up to like 13,000 people on this stream watching me at the same time. It's obviously it never happened before. So obviously I do live in McKinney, and at that one point I was even scared myself. The rotation literally went over my house. And there's thank you for everybody that sent in their videos and all their pictures out there. Greatly appreciated. Please send everything that you want my way. Just I always like to look at that stuff. But yeah, you are the storm chasers out there. You are the spotters of the eyes of the sky. You help everybody to report what you see, right? So a lot of the information, even this, you might think it's subtle, but it's definitely important information. Anytime you can get a glimpse of the funnel cloud that's off your doorway or anything like that, as long as it's safe to do so, that's all good stuff that you can send to me. You can send to the National Weather Service. They utilize all that data. This is what they base on of. I mean, it's one thing, just like me. There's only you got guys all hands on deck at the National Weather Service. You got guys at the Storm Prediction Center. You've got guys like me. You got all the other guys that are doing the forecasting the weather and looking at the radar too. But nothing's better than ground truth. Like I'm not there, you are there. So a lot of times we rely on the public. We rely on you to give us what's happening at the surface, because we can look at it on radar, but obviously we're not there. if you can say, hey, this thing's actually touching the ground, pal, we got confirmation, then that gives it more credibility based on maybe what's happening on our radar at the time frame. But and all that data gets sent into the National Weather Service. So this is what they say. Hey, we need to go survey that, right? It looks like there was a funnel at this such intersection. We need to go investigate that. See if there's any damage. See if there's any type of debris, stuff like that, in somewhere, And then they go back and check the radar and look. Hey, yeah, 10:32 last night. There was rotation. This matches this, and this is how they do this. Their surveys. This is what they do during the surveys to determine what exactly unfolded. Was it a land spout? Was it a microburst? Was it a downburst? Was it an actual tornado? Was it just a funnel cloud? This is how they determine all this type stuff when they do these surveys. So they rely on this. They rely on you as much as you rely on them. Hey, it's a bit crowded with two adults, one 50-pound dog, and a 10-pound weenie dog. And Roy, we trust. I appreciate that. Hey, the lightning was different colors last night. I mean, there was a lot of lightning, folks. Wow. I saw you. One of them was like driving on the freeway, and all of a sudden they had a flash there that you could see the lightning strikes, and it must have hit a power line or something. It's sparks went everywhere. So dangerous stuff, folks. I mean, lightning is no joke. I mean, there's going to be a ton of that tonight, folks. I can't even imagine how much lightning is going to be tonight. But yeah, there's going to be a ton of lightning tonight. So just be very extra careful if you're getting out there watching storms from the patio or anything like that. So you just got to understand. I mean, this is a very dangerous night. So just use extra precautions. Hey, Cartwright, Oklahoma. It's the only way we can see it. I'll ask whatever I can. How about Hal? Hey, when you signed off, yeah, I mean, things were winding down pretty quickly last night. I mean, I think that storm lasted for like another 10 minutes or so, and then it kind of fizzled out. But yeah, things were winding down, pretty quickly. And it's the same dynamics tonight, folks. This is more of a diurnal type of setup where obviously now we lose some of the sunset about 8:30 now. So it's still pretty warm all the way to 10, 11, even up to towards midnight at sometimes in the summer months. And it's still fueling that atmosphere. But once they lose a lot of that heat, most of these storms and setups like this start to really wind down really, really quickly. So as fast as they ramp up in the heat, they really start to wind down fairly quickly once they lose some of that especially the low level jet that's causing them to rise to begin with, but the heat to fuel them to last even longer. Hey, Cassie. Yeah, so there's a tornado watch happening until 9 o'clock. It's mainly for areas north of 121, points northward towards the Red River into Oklahoma. So we had several tornado warnings earlier. We don't have any currently at the moment in Oklahoma. We've had some across the Red River. We've got a lot of different hail reports here, from quarter to golf ball to 2-inch variety up here right along the Red River. So everything's pretty much focused in the same area right now. So we're just watching this activity from the northwest. It'll slowly push eastbound and over the next couple of hours or so. Are hurricanes stronger than tornadoes? Well, there's definitely been. I mean, the strongest hurricane ever was Patricia. That was like 215 miles an hour, and so there's been numerous tornadoes stronger than 215. There's that one in Oklahoma back in 93 was 318 miles an hour. So yeah, a tornado can get stronger than a hurricane for sure. But again, I mean, the tornado it's small but mighty, right? You got the largest tornado ever, which was 2.6 miles, which was El Reno. And then you got these little skinny rope tornadoes, right? But a hurricane, does extensive damage. Obviously, a lot more widespread damage than versus just where the tornado would likely hit. So there's been plenty of neighborhoods that get hit by a tornado, but that only, unless that tornado path goes basically directly over your house or you get into the inflow of it or anything like that, sometimes you're unscathed, even if it even hit the same exact neighborhood. So you're not going to get that with a hurricane. It's going to get obviously well more widespread than a tornado. What should Arlington expect tonight? Again, you're not even. I mean, are you under that tornado watch? I think you're on like the borderline. No, you're not even. You're not even actually under that tornado watch. So, I mean, it's one of those things. This is north of 121, folks. This is most of the Metroplex is really technically not concerned about severe weather tonight. You've Dallas, most of south of I-20. If you live south of I-20, you're not going to get anything. Yes, you're going to get like little raindrops and stuff, but you're really not going to get anything. This is only expected to hit 40% of the Metroplex, and about 30% is going to get severe storms, right? So this is the nature of the beast of severe weather events. But if you're happen to be under that 30%, then it can drop that significant stuff. But there's going to be a good part of North Texas, the Metroplex is not going to see anything at all. And of course, you get like, oh well, nothing happened at my house, and well, it really wasn't expected. It was 60 to 70% of you're not really expected to get a drop of rain, or you get like this. What's happening right now is you get oh, I got 5/100ths of an inch, or I got 5 drops at my house and stuff like that. You don't really want the rain. You don't want the storms on days like this. This is not a it's not a rainmaker event. It's not a heavy rainmaker event or anything like that. It's not the setup for that. So there's plenty of setups for that. There's plenty of widespread events. Well, hey, this is a flood watch in place. There's big time rainmaker, 80% chance of rain. This is nothing like that. This is not that type of storm. All right. So yeah, the good thing is we don't have any tornado warnings right now. So that's good. We did have several. To my knowledge, I don't think we had a confirmed tornado so far today. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think so. But right now everything's kind of fairly holding its own. It is still fairly early, I would say. It's only about 4:15, so this is going to go well into the evening, upwards. I mean, I think 1 o'clock in the morning. This could go well into 1 o'clock in the morning towards Oklahoma. So this is very early on in the stage. So hey, Sean, absolutely, it's like comparing a taser to the machine gun. Thanks for the news. What did I miss? What about Whitesboro? I mean, Whitesboro is definitely in the area. If you live north of 121, primarily if you live north of 380, the closer you live to the Red River, the higher impact you're going to get. So just like where the storms are right now, predominantly located towards the Red River, those are your more favorable areas. So Gainesville, Sherman, Whitesboro, Denison, Durant, Bonham, those areas, probably Broken Bow. I was looking at some of the data up in Broken Bow. Things could really start to come together in the overnight hours, and the Broken Bow could be pretty nasty up there for them. So, but it's mainly the northern tier, right? It's mainly going to be the northern side of the Metroplex tonight. How long is this going to be with us, this weather situation tomorrow? It ends right. Yeah. Hey, Daniel. Yes, it definitely ends tomorrow. Um, we might regenerate again on Thursday. I mean, we could have some storms, definitely nothing like this. Then it's going to regenerate again on probably Sunday coming up. This is only Monday, but we'll have a couple lulls in the action. We have a cool front that will come through overnight tonight. So that will help clear at least some of the mugginess out of the air. It won't feel nearly as muggy tomorrow, that's for sure. All right, so we had that one little cell that came that formed off of Denton there, lifting north through Lake Ray Roberts. One little isolated cell, so nothing to be concerned about. But you always look for anything that's just kind of away from each other, and because those are the ones that are always more concerning. Just like this little cell right here. Is this going to start forming? Does this turn severe and head towards Weatherford and lift up northeast? So we'll be watching any of this type activity that's trying to form. Lubbock, expect any storms? No, unfortunately not. I'm not really expecting any storms for the Lubbock region. Um, I know you had some rain. I know you need some rain, but we are expecting. Um, unfortunately, it's unfortunately it's going to be fairly dry. Overall, drier for your area. Hey, super windy right now, and to Bell, Susie. Yeah, so Bell's is literally just kind of north of the 82 area. Oh, I definitely know you could use some rain for sure. Yeah, this is definitely coming up on the anniversary of those big storms last year. Oh, there was a 2-inch hail report earlier. That was at 3:42. Hen size hail. That was only about 30 minutes ago or so. Up towards Ringgold, Texas. Yeah, so far it looks like that's been the biggest hail so far of the day. Up towards Ringgold, right outside of the Red River there. We had a couple 4-inch reports yesterday in Oklahoma that had some softball sized hail in spots. So similar dynamics today, maybe even stronger. I mean, it's probably one of those days you can't even roll out a 5-inch hailstone somewhere. That's the type of atmosphere we're working with today. Can I work my magic and make it disappear? Well, I can tomorrow because the cold front. You get that cold front to come in sooner, it'll disappear. Trust me. But it's Mother Nature. It's going to do her thing. No, we get that. We get the cool front out later on the night. That'll clear things out. But just like any cool fronts this time of year, it just doesn't last, right? So you get the kind of the 1 day wonder, maybe 2 days. That'll wash out by Wednesday, and then the south wind returns on Thursday. You got a dry line type setup, and you got potential more shower opportunities along the I-35 corridor. So it's this time of year, the cool downs, if they come, they definitely don't last for any length of time. And then, of course, deeper you get into June, the cold fronts just never make it. And that's where typically you can get some big time rain events because they kind of stall sometimes across the Red River, or of course around DFW. They get caught up in like low steering currents because they just can't make it further south. So you can get some big time rain events and those type of setups. We're about to go into what they call northwest flow in probably a couple of weeks or so. We're not there yet, but you get these storms that blow up across the Rockies into the evening time frame and from Colorado, and then they traverse from northwest to southeast. So, and then they go through the panhandle. You go to bed, it's like 11, 12 o'clock. It's pouring in the panhandle. And then you wake up at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and it feels like it's Armageddon outside with wind gusts pounding your windows. That those are northwest flow type setups. Those usually rely on outflow boundaries, and you typically get that as you head into the month of June. So we'll be making kind of a transition, if you will, from these these dry line type setups where we're getting right now to more of these northwest flow type setups in a couple weeks. Well, you'll be looking for storms kind of in the overnight time frame. Sometimes they survive, sometimes they don't, right? Sometimes they leave outflow boundaries will determine what happens, for the next storm that comes in, but those sometimes can be fairly significant. They tend to be um, straight line wind events. They tend to be a pretty big wind producers. They get a lot of microburst in events like those, but those typically start around the second week of June. So that's usually a more favorable time for those northwest flow setups. You kind of go out of the dry line type setups and you go into the northwest flow setups. Um, and so you'll get that in the month of June sometimes, and of course by July, then everything kind of shuts down. You kind of lose everything because of the ridge, right? The ridge just dominates. Like the ridge is basically parked over North Texas, parks over much of Oklahoma too, and just everything goes north. Everything goes north. You'll be seeing storms, Iowa, Illinois. That's when you get these derecho type of events that likely to start to take hold when the ridge builds in from the south. All right, so we are getting some building further south. We got a brand new storm just northwest of Old Olney here, northeast of Olney. So it is trying to build a little bit further south as well. So we'll be trying to watch this more southward progression. So obviously, the further south they can build, the further south they'll likely be when they head towards into the metroplex. So that'll be a telltale sign if you get anything that tries to form just like this little cell right here. Even though it's not much of anything, you got to watch these because obviously it's going into a more favorable environment. So if this one tries to go severe, it's likely going to feed off itself and hit some of these southern areas that are still under that tornado watch. So we'll be watching this activity as well. Hey, usually by now we would be okay, but there's the odd year when we were still cold. Yeah, hey, Snowy, yeah, it's cold up there. It's believe it or not, it's actually the polar vortex. I know that's usually not a common term in May, but regardless of the time of year, it's still the polar vortex, and it's cold for May standards. It's not obviously January, but you're definitely cool up there because of kind of a little bit more of disruption in the polar vortex. That's really primarily making it to the northeast and Europe as well. But none of that will make it that far south. It's not even a factor in Texas or anything. It's not even going to be a factor. It's mainly going to be east and where Stormy lives in Canada. Or snowy. I meant snowies. Uh, hey, Shirley. Yeah, absolutely. I'll keep you updated. Hey, Mackenzie. Yes, definitely. There's a tornado risk for Pilot Point. You are in a more favorable area, especially if you're living north of 380 there. So definitely, you're in a higher impact area tonight. It's just not close to your area, at the moment. Let's look at this. There's no tornado warnings. We've got a couple destructive tags on here. Let's zoom into some of these. Um, I guess at one point it's probably not doing that any longer, but it's one point it, where that Ringgold had some 2-inch hail, had the potential to produce some tennis ball size hail. It'd likely be this storm continues to move northeast. This is a storm that's right along the Red River there, just north of Nakona. That is dropping some significant hail as it's lifting northeast as we speak. We can change radars here and kind of see some of these some of these hail sizes here. Yeah, it looks to be this has been a fairly significant hail swath that's left some pretty large hail. This is radar indicated. We've got confirmation of at least 2 inches, but there's looks like there's been isolated areas approaching almost 3 inches, folks. Yeah, this has been a pretty significant storm. Now, remember, this storm had that 1,000 foot cloud top. This is what we're talking about. So this is this is literally just kind of one supercell that's dropping some significant hail along its path as it lifts northeast. Anywhere from golf ball to tennis ball, sometimes baseball size hail. Yeah, so this is the type of energy that's moving east and moving, going to be moving across the northern tier of the metroplex. So this could easily happen, across the northern tier later on tonight. Because you can see, look at the train tracks, right? So once these form, they're going to last for an extended period of time. You get a cloud top that's 55, 60,000 feet. It's not going to go anywhere anytime in a short amount of time. So it's going to lay down some serious hail over an extended period, and it could be rotating. So, so that's why we have such a significant event that could unfold tonight, because just the dynamics are there to lay down some significant weather, and we're already kind of seeing that as we look to our northwest here with some tennis ball to some baseball size hail, and even tornado warnings along with it, and anything that can kind of obviously train over the same areas like we saw last night. Obviously, it's so muggy. You got a lot of water content. It's not going to take much to produce some flash flooding. So that's not a main concern, but on an isolated basis, we could definitely see some isolated flash flooding for sure. Hey, Angela. Yeah, timing for Melissa. Again, you're still pretty good ways. It's about 100 miles away. So I mean, it might not be until 9, 10, even maybe even after 10 o'clock tonight. It's going to be a ways. Hey, last night, it was not good when Pal told his family to get in a safe spot. Yeah, I was a little. I mean, there's not too many times I'm live, folks, and I'm watching like this circulation because it was actually heading towards Allen, and then all of a sudden we had a little bit of rain come up that pushed that rotation further north. And at one point, I was like, "Wow, this thing's like basically almost over my house." It's like, uh, yeah. So I was trust me, it ran across my mind to hit to the safe zone there. But I knew it was winding down. It definitely wasn't as strong as it looked like when it was over towards Little Elm. It was definitely on the weakening phase by that point. So I was definitely trying to keep my ears open. That's for sure. Hey, Marcy. Yeah, Plano's again. It's probably going to be on the borderline tonight. I mean, you are under that tornado watch, barely under that tornado watch. It's again, it's primarily going to be north of 380, north of 121. So we'll just have to watch if anything forms further south that lifts northeast. That's likely going to be the only way Plano gets really any activity tonight, unless these build south. I mean, Stronger storms do have a tendency to move a little bit southeast, right? And that's so we'll watch the progression. So if they get pretty intense, just like we watched last night, that we had that storm that was northwest, and it started taking a little bit of a subtle southern turn because it literally had rotation on the southern side of Denton, and all of a sudden it was like south of 121, and then heading towards like the city of Allen, so which is obviously south of 380. So it had that southern tilt to it. As it got stronger, it started tending to drift further south, and so even though the primarily the direction is northeast, depending on how strong these supercells can get, they may have a tendency to drop a little bit further south to put some of those areas into play for further south into the metroplex. Hey, I have to take my mom to DFW airport tonight at 8:30 flight. Yeah, I mean 8:30 flight might be a little bumpy, right? You got to realize we got big storms, right? You got some serious updrafts, just like I was explaining last night. There's very high turbulence in the atmosphere, right? You're not going to be able to land and fly airplanes and that type of turbulence when you have 100-mile updraft. Trust me, if you're in a plane, you don't want to experience that. So it is just not safe to do so. So regardless of the rain or not, you do have a very volatile atmosphere that they have to fly in and out of. So it's too dangerous to land a plane, and it's too dangerous to take off in a plane in a highly turbulence area. So again, it's one of those situations. You're gonna have delays. That's the bottom line. You're gonna have delays tonight. You're gonna have cancellations tonight. There's no two ways to get around it. That's why when it clears out, they'll have you back tomorrow, and it'll be free and clear tomorrow for most of the area, and they'll get caught up. But you're probably gonna have delays tonight for sure. Hey, let's see. About what time in Little Elm, Aubrey area? Yeah, again, it's continuing to shift. Northeast, moving eastbound, couple hours away. You're still easily a couple hours away. You're under that tornado watch until 9. You could expect some larger hail, some tornadic activity. There's a 30% chance, folks. 30% chance of isolated activity. So that's what we're working with tonight. There's a number of cities. I mean, I can't tell you each city if you're going to get hit or not. I can give you more favorite areas. I can definitely say you have definitely a higher probability to be impacted versus another. We already know it's going to be likely north of 121. If you live likely north of 380, you're definitely in a more favorable area. You listening to me from Cleburne or DeSoto, you're like, no, you're probably not going to get anything tonight. So we can probably say that with high confidence, right? But I can't say, what's going to happen in Sherman at a certain time, but you're just in a favorable area for tornadic activity and larger hail, but it's still a ways away. So, hey, I haven't seen any lightning like that in years. Yeah, there was a lot of lightning strikes last night. I mean, if anything, it seems like it's gotten more intense over the years. Just the amount of lightning just everywhere, and so yeah, just you've got Cape values in the 5,000 range. That's an extreme amount of energy, right? That's just the atmosphere is just like really hyped up, right? It's full of energy. It's like just waiting to pop. So yeah, yeah, I don't know how else to explain it, right? I guess when you shake up a Coke and then you unscrew it and then it explodes. That's the atmosphere is ready. I mean, it's just it's really prime. It's the bottle's being shooken up right now, and it's ready for that top to pop up, right? So hey, do you have a dog? Yeah, I have 2 dogs. I've got a corgi I've got a corgi named Sunny. She's 3-year-old Sunny corgi, and then my Jack Russell. I have Roxy, and she's getting up in age. She's 13 or 14. I think she's actually turned 14 in April. Yeah, so basically, I got essentially almost a 4-year-old and a 14-year-old. But the Jack Russell's getting around. She's getting around fine. She still runs in the backyard. Hey, is Denton, Texas, going to get severe weather? Yes, I would say you're in a more favorable spot. You're right along the 380 corridor, so you are going to be in one of those areas that's likely going to get some severe weather tonight. So we'll just have to watch this evolve as this gets a little bit closer to your area. I mean, I guess the good thing, if there's any good thing right now about what's going on with these storms, you can see they're kind of congealed together, right? They're not, terribly too separated. You can see they all like kind of feed off one another. They're all basically connected, right? So even though it is dropping some bigger hail, these aren't like crazy big time supercells. That's why the tornado threat actually pulls down, because we have more of a convective line versus more of an isolated line. So the more these things can kind of link up with one another, right? And sometimes that can happen if you get a lot of thunderstorms over an area, right? So the longer they can stay isolated and separated, just like what we found out last night. As soon as these storms split, and as soon as they were just all by their lonesomes, that's when they got stronger, right? So if they're like this, and where they're just kind of training and linking together like this, I mean, they're dropping some larger hail, but they're not like crazy big time hail. They haven't produced a tornado on the ground. They haven't, you know what I mean? It's a little bit tamer, if I guess you could say. Yes, I definitely heard about St. Louis. Unfortunately, that was a nasty tornado. Yeah, it's been a high impact year, folks. I mean, it was very volatile last year. We've got a similar type setup. We're in Enzo neutral, and we could still be Enzo neutral, maybe weak La Nina by the time even fall rolls around. So it's going to be an active year. I fully expect this goes almost all year long. Obviously, we're going to have lulls in the summer, but it's probably going to ramp back up again. How many tornadoes do we get with landfalling hurricanes? But yeah, this could easily be a very, 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 very active year, if not a record year. Hey, trucker drove a load of into Ferris and the Kansas City last night. Hey, pal, you're definitely my springtime family. Yeah, it's storm season in North Texas. We're on the oh, I guess we could see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? I mean, it's what February was, must was May 19th. Of course, you can get severe weather 12 months out of the year, but you always have your most favored times, which you're talking, it's the middle of March through the middle of June. Those are always the prime time months, those 3 months. So we're less than a month away, right? So then it usually pulses down for the summer, and then it kind of ramps back up again, and you have a second season. But so as we speak, there's that storm that's already, this has been a storm that has produced a tornado warning. It's now dropped yet again. So brand new tornado warning for a thunderstorm, capable of producing a tornado just outside of the Leon area. We've been watching this storm. So this is outside of Leon. This is right along the Texas and Oklahoma border. Continues to show signs of circulation as it continues to lift northeast. So at 45 miles an hour, and some golf ball size hail with it. So those areas into Meridia, into Lone Grove, into Leon, into Overbrook, as well as into the Lake Murray area. It's like Bernieville. Those areas need to be in your safe zone, as this is kind of showing some, broad rotation, as this is crossing over the Red River, if you will, and heading northwest of Meridia, and then eventually this is going to be heading towards the Ardmore, Oklahoma area. Hey, you're gonna tell my kids your Uncle Pal. Uncle Pal. Who's that Pal guy? I want to watch the Pal guy. Hey, it's pretty cool to, okay, so let's we got another brand new tornado warning. So again, this is things are getting a little bit more active, folks. So we have another brand new tornado warning right now. This is north into Oklahoma. So this is north of Durant, north of Caddo, just outside of the city of Atoka. So we're talking, this looks like Johnson County, Cole County, and to Atoka County. So Atoka County, producing storm near the city of Fillmore. So this is Fillmore, Oklahoma, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So Fillmore, Oklahoma has some broad rotation with it, as this is lifting northeast. So you can see locations in its path are going to be outside of Atoka, the Colgate area, and you can see all the lightning strikes with this storm, and yeah, most of these storms, most of these tornadoes today are likely going to be rain wrapped. As you can see, this one's likely. Not, again, just showing some broad rotation, nothing confirmed, but showing some broad rotation with this supercell, as it's lifting at northeast. But this is definitely holding its own. It's got crazy amounts of lightning with it. Let's see if I can see what we're talking about here. All right, so there's your broad rotation right there, just in the south side. There's the city of Fillmore. We're watching this right now. So you got the circulation just north of there. This is why it's a tornadic supercell that could drop a tornado. And this is lifting northeast. So areas likely in the path are going to be the Colgate area. You can see it literally just kind of spun up, right? You can see this area coming out of Tishomingo, and kind of wound up, and then showing that broad rotation now just on the north side of Fillmore. So this can continue to lift northeast, going to be impacting Bromid Junction area, and eventually heading towards a bigger city of Colgate, Oklahoma. And this will eventually keep heading northbound, maybe making it towards McAllister here. Hey, Steph. Yeah, right now everything is in Oklahoma. I mean, again, which was expected. I came on earlier, earlier than what I'm probably going to be, because I know we got stuff in Oklahoma. Yeah, everything was supposed to be in Oklahoma early on. Most of the stuff in North Texas was likely going to start towards that 5 o'clock, and then towards the 11 o'clock. So from 5 to 11. So it's still very early on, even though there's not much happening within North Texas. We are expecting, more activity. All right, so look at that, folks. This is dropping some significant hail. Wow, that's massive. This was at 434. So that was about 10 minutes ago. We've been over here sitting chit chatting. We missed out on this big time hailstone, folks. We got 4.5 inches off the St. Joe's area. That is significant. That's what we're working with tonight, folks. That's some scary stuff. That is some dangerous hail. Look at that, 4.5 inches. This was 10 minutes ago. Confirmed spotters have confirmed 7 miles north of St. Joe, 7 miles north of St. Joe, 4.5 inches hail. That's softball, right? That is softball size hail in out of the St. Joe area. So that tells you what the atmosphere is capable of tonight. That's what we're working with, folks. That's the concern of what we that could lead to some significant damage. Yeah, you get 4.5 inch hail. That is doing some extensive damage. All right, so things are getting active, folks. We got the continued tornado warning as this continues to lift northeast. Sorry, I'm making a post. All right. So we got several tornado warnings unfolding as we speak, and we could even have maybe a developing tornado, folks. I mean, this is fairly significant rotation, right here that came out of Fillmore. This was the storm that's Fillmore. This is why they continued and actually extended the tornado warning just a tad bit further south. So this is showing some broad rotation right there coming out of the city of Fillmore as this continues to lift northeast at about 45 miles an hour. So if you live in the city of Colgate, you need to be in your safe zone immediately. This looks to be going in your basically direct path and would likely be on your doorstep in about 15 minutes or so. So you definitely need to be in your safe zone as this is showing a broad rotation and maybe could even, in fact, probably trying to lower by the time it actually gets into your area. But yeah, this appears to me, since we've been doing live coverage, the most significant rotation that we've seen so far since I've been doing the live coverage here. This is in Oklahoma. This is north of the city of Durant. This is all lifting northeast, but you can see we've got 3 active tornado warnings happening right now. We've got extensive hail producer storms. So this is definitely getting a little bit stronger as we get deeper into the afternoon here. But man, that's a massive hailstone right over St. Joe, heading towards Leon. Yeah, most of the rain has really subsided now in most of Dallas here. So everything's pretty much right along the Red River into Oklahoma right now. All right, so we're going to continue to watch these big time storms that are coming out of Oklahoma, and there is that destructive tag on this, folks. There's that destructive tag of with this supercell. So we've had that massive hail that was confirmed in the city of St. Joe. So now we've got an elevated supercell. This is up to softball size hail, folks. We've already had that confirmed. This is labeled as a destructive storm, producing some softball size hail and lifting northeast at 45 miles an hour. So listen up. If you live in Ardmore, if you live in Medill, Marietta, Lone Grove, Helton, Wilson, Kingston, Dickinson, those Ringland, Mansfield, Springer, Katy, Jean, Ottery, um, back into Leon, Graham, Turner Falls, and Grady. This is in Oklahoma, folks. Some serious destructive hail is radar indicated tornado, but it's also producing some significant hail coming out of this supercell. It's small, but it is mighty, dropping some significant hail just north of Leon. Yeah, when you're talking stuff like that, folks, that is some serious stuff. I mean, that gets deadly, right? I mean, imagine if that hit your head coming at you at 90, 100 miles an hour out of the atmosphere. This is dangerous stuff. This is the type of stuff that would easily go through your windshield in your car, in your sunroof, in your skylights in your house. It goes through your windows. I mean, this is destructive stuff. It that would do some significant damage everywhere it touches. I mean, it's going to take out your roof, it's going to take out your cars, it's going to take out windows, fences, patio furniture, barbecue grills, air conditioned units, you name it. Anything it touches with a stone like that, you know, I mean, just imagine you got a fastball coming at you at 100 miles an hour, right? You know that's going to do some damage if it hits you. So this is what's happening up there just outside of the Red River. This is a destructive tag heading towards the city of Ardmore. So those are under the gun of that significant hail core, and it doesn't look like it's trying to lose its luster. It's still kind of holding on to its own as this continues to push off to the northeast. And these could be training. You could have another storm form just behind you. This has been laying down some significant hail, some higher wind gust, but the main culprit right now is the more significant hail out of this supercell. Hey, Charlotte. Yeah, McKinney, you're probably, a good 3 hours away, if not four 4 hours away. It's still a ways away from McKinney. It's moving northeast. It's technically not moving, but I think McKinney gets hit, but it's not going to be until later on into the evening. So 3.5 inches in Nebraska right now too. Yeah, so we even have a couple tornado warnings in Nebraska as well. So yeah, it's an active evening. This goes well north into Nebraska. We've got some 70-mile-per-hour reports in Kansas here outside of Topeka. We have yet another tornado warning up here towards into Nebraska as well. But yeah, all kind of hail, folks. Overton Park back into Kansas. I mean, here's some more 2.5 inch hail near Kearney. That's in Missouri. Yeah, this has all just happened in the last 6 or so hours. Hey, the sun is out. That surely won't help. Where are we at now? Okay, 84. It's getting warmer. Heat index is 91. So it's still getting warmer out there. Hey, sorry I missed it. Did you say anything about McKinney? Yeah, it's going to be a while, folks. Another three, about 3 or 4 hours, possibly in McKinney. We don't see anything forming. There's nothing forming out here, and this is the Metroplex. There's McKinney, there's Denton, there's Bridgeport, there's Sherman, there's Gainesville, there's Bowie. Everything's northwest. So everything's expected to be north of 121, north of 380. If you live north of 380, you're likely going to be impacted tonight. You're a little bit more favorable. If you live south of 380, especially if you live south of 121, um, the odds of you getting impacted tonight are not very good. It's possible about Bonham. I mean, again, we just have to watch this evolve. I mean, we're good several hours away. So, hey, Haley, thanks for keeping us updated. Hey, you're welcome. Hey, Katie, yeah, Prosper's fine right now. Absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing going on in the Metroplex. Hey, I live off 121 in Bonham area. There's 121 in Bonham. Hey, Cassie. Hey, you're welcome. Hey, Brooke, is Gunner projected to have tornadoes? Well, you're certainly under the tornado watch. You're certainly under a more favorable area, enhanced, if not almost approaching that moderate risk for storms. So, yes, you definitely are in a more favorable area to see tornadic supercells. There's another confirmed report by storm spotters that cell that's been warned for softball size hail has confirmed a baseball size hail just about 10 minutes ago. So it's still laying down some pretty significant hail just north of Leon there. This is all heading towards the city of Ardmore, Oklahoma. And we have another destructive tag. So if it's not hail, it's wind, folks. So if it's not hail, they're gonna get you on the wind aspect. So yeah, so we've got some approaching some 80 mile per hour winds with this supercell heading towards the city of Colgate here. Estimated time of arrival in Ardmore, you're not that far away. I mean, it's like 10 minutes. You're about 10, 15 minutes at tops. Yeah, this warning goes until 16 minutes from now. So, and you're on the outskirts of this warning. So you're likely going to be, I'd say 5:15 in 5:12, 5:15 time frame. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any signs of this trying to build. At times it's showing that, but it's not trying to fill in at all. So we're not looking at any expansion of this line trying to go further south either. Yeah, so this is live coverage, folks. So I came on a little early to cover most of Oklahoma stuff, but yeah, they've had a lot of significant stuff happening into Oklahoma tonight. We've got a lot of considerable tags. If it's not very high winds, they're hitting you with some serious baseball, if not softball size hail. And then we've got several tornado warnings unfolding. So this is a very volatile atmosphere. We've got four tornado warnings in Oklahoma right now, five altogether. And the most significant hail of the night has been in St. Joe, leaving some 4.5 inch hail there. Yeah, let's look at some of the rotation storms. All right, so here's been where the rotation has been. You can see some of these tracks. So yeah, again, once these things get going, they're pretty much going to be leaving that broad rotation on, for an extended period of time, just exactly what we saw last night. So these are all moving from southwest to northeast. There's your hell swath. So you basically get what they call these like train tracks, right? You get these train tracks that kind of drop some significant hail, and then they're on the ground for an extended period of time and leave some pretty nasty stuff along its wake. So they're getting plenty of that in Oklahoma. Basically, it was essentially supposed to be from Oklahoma City to Tulsa, points eastbound. So this is exactly where we are, which is what was forecasted, what was expected. And then now we have the storms, building up towards Wichita Falls, which was in the forecast as well. And then those are the ones that are going to try to build a little bit further south and then move east as we get deeper into the afternoon into the evening time frame. But yeah, thanks for tuning in to live coverage, folks. Yeah, no, if you're listening to me from North Texas, there's not much happening right now. So I get it. If you got plans, I mean, you can certainly have some time to go do those until this thing gets going. Everything's pretty much into Oklahoma right now. It is 5 o'clock, so the tornado watch goes until 9. And again, we were kind of anticipating it to last longer than that, so it's probably going to be extended. I would say. So now when we have a little bit of time, let's look at some of the high resolution data, which it hasn't been the greatest, right? I got to be honest with you. There's some of the short term models have just not been very good lately. But nonetheless, we'll look at the latest run and try to get a little bit better idea of what we're working with and what may be to come. So this is what was it, 4 o'clock? Again, this is just a model, right? This is just a model, and so obviously it's not even working out like it is. We know what the real radar looks like, right? And this is what the future radar looks like. There's not any activity in Waxahachie, and there's definitely not any activity out here. So it's already not exactly right? So this is what I mean. This is what we've been having to work with lately. But this is the latest model run, if you will, showing activity towards that 6 o'clock time frame, whether that comes to fruition or not. But you get the general idea. It's mainly that north of 121, north of 380. Of course, if these supercells come to fruition, they would be fairly nasty. These would be big time hell producers. This would likely maybe drop a tornado or two, or at least have rotating supercell. That would be towards 8 o'clock. There's 9 o'clock. Again, this is just a model run, so don't take this exactly verbatim. This is maybe just kind of gives you an idea what we're where it's more favorable and where it's not more favorable, which is like I've been mentioning, north of 121, north of 380 is your more favored spot. There's 10 o'clock, there's 11 o'clock, right? So that's the latest run. There's been a more updated one, but it's only been going out for 28 minutes or so. It updates every single hour, so this is always changing with new data coming in. But obviously, nothing's better than real time activity, but you always want to get a glimpse of what's happening in the future. um, all right, so here's a glimpse of the newest model run, right? So this is the brand new model run that is just now kind of updating. So this is what maybe the radar would maybe try to look like towards that 6 o'clock time frame. Maybe some storms approaching the Gainesville area, just south of towards the Red River. Then we got storms. That's 7 o'clock. There's 8 o'clock. There's 9 o'clock. So these are some of the latest. These are some of the latest the data that's coming in, right? And that's just, of course, one model. That's just one model that's some of the high resolution models. There's definitely other models out there. So that just gives you an idea of one model. So so here's another model. This is um, and again, this is not exactly right either, because we know what the atmosphere looks like at 5 o'clock, which is where we are. And this is what the radar looked like, the future radar. So which is obviously not exactly right. So that's what I mean. The data's not been the most favorable to work with lately. But it gives you an idea of the more favorable area north of 121 and north of Highway 380. So that would be 8 o'clock. Yeah. So again, the short range models have not been it hasn't been the most favorable. There wasn't really any model that showed that storm blow up last night as it headed towards McKinney. So it's more of an evolution thing as these things kind of evolve, and that's what I mean. It's you more or less nothing beats real time radar. So we try to look for any new activity that's trying to bubble up further south, that's trying to fishtail off this main boundary. We're not actually seeing that as of yet. So that would be a little bit more concerning to drop further south. So we have new activity, which is probably not expected to turn severe or anything further south and south of Dallas. So everything's mainly highlighted across the Red River into the northern areas of the Metroplex. The good thing is this storm out towards Leon, towards again across the Red River, has a pulse down. It doesn't have that destructive tag on it anymore. The hell core has come down, so it definitely peaked right over St. Joe, and then it's starting to lose some of its luster, if you will. Yes. What do you mean? You can't predict the future? Right. Right. That's basically what weather is. You got to predict the future. What exactly is going to happen in my house, two days from now? I mean, again, don't let your guard down, Nicole. I mean, you have this. If you live in the northern areas, this is not an environment you need to take your guard down and say, hey, nothing's going to happen. So things could ramp up very, very quickly, right? So just because some of the model data is not showing something favorable, doesn't mean nothing can happen. All it's going to take is one or two supercells to form further south and then move across. And um, just like what happened last night, there was nothing in the radar, there was nothing in the data saying that was going to elevate and get stronger as it continued to move east, and yet it did. So it's one of those situations that you've got very volatile atmosphere, a very intense volatile atmosphere. And if you live north of Highway 380, you just need to be on high alert tonight. That's the bottom line. Hey, I saw that moment on your face when you yesterday the sirens went off 60 seconds later. Yeah, we definitely, we were watching that broad rotation happen south of Denton. Hey, a lot of wind and sun keeps poking through in Anna. Tommy, how's McKinney? McKinney's just fine right now. Hey, I appreciate your coverage between you and Fox 4. Hey, no problem. Just happy to keep you informed. Yeah, Oklahoma, again, where they were expected to take the brunt of it. They're under a very significant tornado threat. North Texas is on the edge of that. You've got pieces, Gainesville, Sherman. You're in that moderate risk. Gainesville to Sherman. South of there, you're under that enhanced risk. Further south, you're under a slight risk. All right, so we got. All right, so this is a little bit new development. So this is a storm this is the first signs of it trying to build a little bit further south, right? So we've got a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that does include areas further south into the city of Durant, actually. So this has been the first sign as this is moving at northeast that it's trying to take a little bit of a southward jog. So it's building a little bit further south now up into Oklahoma. So we've got severe thunderstorm warning just northeast of near Coleman area, Coleman, Oklahoma, and has some 70-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail with it. So that's going to impact the art outside of Ardmore, the Ada, Oklahoma area, Sulphur, back into Medill, into Atoka, Colgate. Those areas need to be on high alert with some 70-mile-per-hour winds and some larger hail associated with that supercell up to golf ball size. It's definitely a possibility that McKinney is under a watch. They're under a strong strong tornadoes under from the Storm Prediction Center. Yes, the atmosphere is prime. It only can take one supercell to be over that area. It's just like I said, it's just a very volatile atmosphere tonight. It's hard to pick certain cities. Like, again, when you get these isolated events, 30% coverage, 40% coverage tops, right? That means 60 to 70% of you are not going to get a drop of rain, are not going to get anything, right? That is the nature of the beast of severe storms. That is the forecast. That's been the forecast. But where you get the baseball size hail, where they're dropping it, where you get the softball size hail, the tornadic activity, the destructive wind tags. I mean, you're not going to call it a nothing burger if all that goes over your house. If you're just living outside of that and you get nothing, obviously you think it's a bust, right? So it's severe because it's isolated, right? That's the only reason why it's such severe. You're going to get a high impact day. It's always going to be isolated to scattered. It's not going to be numerous. It's not going to be widespread. That's why it's severe. If it would be widespread, you'd be looking at more of a rain event. You'd be looking at more of a wind event. This is not that tonight. It's a large hail event. and it's a tornadic event. That's what we're working with in those isolated supercells. Hey, did any tornadoes land here last night? Yeah, we don't have any confirmation yet, Kat. Typically those take a while. So the National Weather Service elected to do the surveys out west, where they obviously had more confirmed tornadoes and did those first. So right now they confirmed one 105 mile per hour. So, but they will be heading east. But obviously they got other things in their mind today. We've got all this activity right now they're having to deal with. So they'll have a lot more free time with not having to worry about the weather, and they can go and do the surveys without being a hindrance, and from the storms that are happening actually right now. But yes, they will be out assessing everything, and I'll be reporting back to let you know what they find. Hey, can someone please explain what the time frame is for Sherman? Yeah, again, it's 5 o'clock now, maybe 7, 8. This is all to your northwest. We've been 2 hours now, right? These storms really haven't they haven't really moved that much. That's the nature of the beast. These are moving northeast with a slight east south jog. That's what we're working with. So it's been predominantly in the same areas for about 2 hours now, as these are slowly drifting east. So we got a tornado on the ground, Highway 76, Highway. I'm not. That's obviously in Oklahoma. Do you have a city? I don't know all the highways in Oklahoma. Mm, so is this it? Highway 76. This spin up right there off in Cheek, Oklahoma, heading to Ardmore. All right. So some are saying this is potentially trying to lower, and some were saying that this is this area right here could have a potential tornado on the ground. It's obviously has rotation here. This is Allswalt, and this is Cheek, Oklahoma. Yeah, this is 76. This is County Road 76 and 32 right here. So this would be your area right here. That's possibly has the potential tornado on the ground right here, and that's going to be lifting to Brock, and then eventually the city of Ardmore. So we have a developing situation. We have a tornado warning into Oklahoma that has the potential to produce a tornado coming out of just west of the Marietta region, and this is lifting northeast at 45 miles an hour. So we don't have confirmation from the National Weather Service on this, but we're getting some spotters saying it's potentially on the ground here. You can see this quick spin up here. This is the circulation in question. So it will be in Ardmore here shortly as this continues to lift northeast. So they do have a tornado warning on this supercell, and you need to be in your safe zone. That is likely this will be continued into the Gene Autry area. Hey, Kristen. Yes, they have them in McKinney as well. Hey, the winds here in McKinney have picked up big time. Yeah, hopefully not every day, but it seems like there's actually some severe weather pretty much somewhere. All right, so we got a little bit stronger activity trying to build south of Dallas here. We're getting some darker oranges kind of showing up. So this is not severe or anything like that, but this is more activity trying to fill in a little bit out towards Midlothian, towards Cedar Hill, towards DeSoto area. This is all lifting to downtown Dallas. This is not even strong, but it is showing a band of precipitation trying to form right along I-35 there, right along I-35 out towards Whitney, Hillsboro, Itasca, into Venus, back towards Midlothian. And then this is bubbling up out towards Dallas, out towards Irving area. So yeah, we've been trying to watch if anything's trying to build further south, and it just hasn't come to fruition. Everything's been pretty much, kind of congealed in that same general vicinity. But we are watching a little bit of a southward tint. I mean, if anything has changed, it has tilted a little bit further south than what it's been doing. Hey, why does the Weather Channel say tornado watch for McKinney, but also shows no precipitation? I mean, yeah, we have a tornado watch for McKinney until 9 o'clock. I mean, yes, there's definitely going to be some areas that are not going to get any precipitation tonight. That's in the forecast. There's going to be 70% of you that don't get a drop, don't get anything. That's why it's severe. Yes, there's a storm coming. He doesn't have any specifics to show right now. Yeah, we have to watch it evolve. And when we kind of looked at some of the high resolution data, I mean, yes, it doesn't look favorable for areas further south, but again, the models have not been the most favorite. They have not been very helpful lately. I can tell you that. I look at this stuff all day long, and the modeling now has been almost atrocious, to be honest with you. Hey, thanks so much. I'm not good at this time. I'm about a mile away from you, pal. Hey, you're welcome. Yeah, right now there's not much happening, closer into the Metroplex. Yeah, nothing severe to worry about. So we have that tornado watch until 9 o'clock. Everything is congealed into Oklahoma. They're getting again serious storms in Oklahoma, a lot of hail, a lot of wind, uh, numerous tornado warnings happening. Yeah, it's pretty lit up from Oklahoma to Kansas. So you got to remember Kansas, Oklahoma, they're all under that moderate risk. The more significant severe weather for them, the highest tornado activity as well. I mean, even further south, we had a storm earlier. This was well early. This was actually this morning, but we had a fairly significant storm drop some 1.5 inch hail towards Lorena, Texas. This is in central Texas, south of Waco. So that had some. We had some morning activity. Yeah, but this stuff in Dallas is trying to gain intensity. So this is actually trying to get a little bit stronger here. We're trying to get some more reds trying to bubble up. So we'll have to watch this one, see if it's continues to strengthen. But yeah, if you live right along into the Duncanville area, you're definitely seeing some blinding rain right now. This has really started to get a little bit stronger with every frame. Yeah, this is more or less lifting due north, right along 67. There's Interstate 35 here. There's Interstate 20. There's 30. We've got some scattered showers lifting north into Irving. But yeah, you can definitely see in the just in the last 20 minutes or so, this is all kind of bubbled up right across into 35 there. Sorry, folks. I'm on this stream. I probably definitely need more moderators. Uh, I'll do my best. I got to find them. Um, okay, I got him. Bye bye, Jason Roberts. He's gone. There you go, folks. I found him. He's been deleted. He's been blocked. There you go. Sorry about that. uh so now, yeah, back to the stream. Hey, yeah, no worries. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome, everyone. I know it's annoying when you got some person just trying to take over the stream for whatever reason. Uh, but anyways, we took care of that. So all right, so we're back to live action here, and so we've got again, we're just watching this activity trying to evolve here, and things are fairly quiet across the metroplex, but things are trying to ramp up for further north, and it is building a tad bit further south. This is the Red River, so we're just kind of watching and waiting here. Rotation into Arkansas. All right, looks like we have a confirmed tornado here. All right, so this was, let me find it. All right, so this was the one earlier. They were mentioning the storm spotters did actually confirm this tornado. Now we have a confirmed tag. So we have a confirmed tornado. This was outside of Wardville, Oklahoma, moving northeast around 40 miles an hour. So obviously it's pretty rain wrapped here. Wardville, you need to be in your safe zone. So that, yeah, the city of Colgate and Wardville is going to be in the path of this supercell that has a warned tag on it of a confirmed tornado that is on the ground. All right, so there would be your tornado that came out of Colgate, and then continue to move northeast here, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So Kiowa, Savannah, and McAllister. McAllister's your bigger your bigger city to contend with, but we do have a confirmed tornado. Actually, the first one that I know of on this stream, just north of Atoka. So this is to get your bearings. There is Sherman. You got Denison, Durant, Caddo, Atoka, Colgate, and this is northeast of Colgate. So that is your tornado on the ground right along 31 there into Carrero, lifting northeast towards Wardville, and eventually heading towards the city of Savannah and McAllister. Hey, I found some asparagus last year. Hey, Nico. Yeah, I mean, I used to do meet and greets all the time. I did a lot of them last year. We had an event every single month, and it's just been a while. It hit the winter, and but I should start to bring them back in the summer. Um, all right, so let's zoom back in towards this activity towards Dallas because this continues to get a little bit stronger, folks. There's the city of Cockrell Hill. We've got the Bishop Arts districts right along heading into the heart of downtown Dallas. You got to realize we're heading towards rush hour, so now we're getting into likely going to be getting some heavier rains along the I-35 corridor. Not severe. I'm not really seeing any lightning strikes, so that'll be your first sign if this is trying to get even stronger than what it is right now. But nonetheless, it has kind of filled in fairly nicely here. It's getting a little bit more numerous as we get these new scans that are coming in. Um, Hey, you made my move from California much easier, and my 3-year-old loves listening to you. Hey, Nico, yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. I know a lot of people from out of town that they moved here from California. Like, what's all this? What's all this hail and tornado type stuff? I mean, I'm not used to this stuff. Where's my sunny and 75-degree weather? Um, we get some sunny and 75 degrees. They're just not. They're kind of too few and far between, but yeah, definitely appreciate you following, Nico. All right, so now we've got some activity that's lifting towards the 635 area, heading towards Richardson. You should start to get some rain showers back into that area now. This is really filling in fairly nicely, heading towards Plano. So don't be surprised you start getting wet. This is all really, really filling in nicely. So it extends a pretty good ways all the way from the city of Waco, all along the I-35 corridor, getting into 75 there, up towards Garland, into the Plano region now. Too many 100-degree days, though. Yes. What did we end up with? 30? I forget. 30 last year? Maybe I got my freezes and my 100-degree days mixed up. I know there were 30 freezes. It wasn't too far above average last year. I know that. It was like 25 days or something. Hey, getting sunny and warm again, and Little Elm. So where are we at? I think we probably peaked. We hit our high of the day. That's like 84. So about the same as yesterday. I see some of these wind gusts, 40-mile-per-hour wind gust here. Any update on Anna? Yeah, again, it's pretty far away from the city of Anna right now. We don't really have anything near your vicinity, but possibly in 2 or 3 hours from now. All right, so we got some beginning signs of it trying to form further south. We saw this earlier. We'll see if this continues. Like I mentioned, if this is able to build further south, then that will obviously put more activity further into the metroplex. Hey Tom, yeah, do you have to be airport tonight? Yeah, I mean you got a pretty strong low level jet coming in, pretty strong updrafts, a lot of turbulence. So I would imagine you're probably going to get some delays at the airport. Just check if you got a flight out. I mean, just check the flights, but I would be shocked if there's not any delays tonight. Mm, yeah. So let's look at the latest storm prediction center. Did they change it at 3 o'clock? It's probably about the same. Yeah, it's about the same. Like I've been telling you. Yeah, so here's your storm prediction center. The red area is a 30% probability of seeing tornadic activity, where you can definitely see most of the stuff is currently at right now. That's why I said if you live north of 380, you're probably in the more favorable area. If you live in the yellow zone, that's when you have that enhanced risk. If anything, this actually pulled further south. I don't think this was that far south earlier. But yeah, the enhanced risk is a 10% probability of seeing a tornadic supercell. So that means 90% won't see anything. And if you do have a tornado, it could be on the strong side. So we do have that 10%. That's considered a strong risk. A 10% risk is considered strong. A 30% or a 15% risk is actually considered more or less very strong. That's a rare day. That's where most of the activity you see. That's where most of the tornado warnings and obviously where they're mostly expected. But even then, you still can get a 5% probability. Even down here, it's not ruled out. I mean, I've seen plenty of tornadoes even in a 2% probability. So this just gives you your odds of maybe seeing a tornado or two. But obviously the further north you live, the more favorable that you have for a potential tornado. So the risks are there, the dynamics are high. Um, you know, whether you get one or not, it remains to be seen, but you have that risk in place. So any supercell that's able to tap into this energy is going to turn severe very quickly. That's the bottom line. So there's no guarantee it's going to happen. We are actually seeing a little bit more activity trying to build. So they do have the risk in place for a good reason because of the dynamics in the atmosphere. It doesn't mean everybody's going to get it. There's never a severe threat means everybody's going to get severe weather. That's not reality. That's not how it works. All right, so there is that confirmed tornado from emergency management that was on the ground outside of Wardell, Oklahoma. So that was likely our first one of the day that I know of. I think there's another one happening right now in Missouri. So let's go over some of these risks. So you got the that's the tornado threat. And of course, the health threat, right? Kind of the same deal, right? So where you see the pink, where you see the magenta color, that's where you have the moderate risk. That's where you're actually seeing predominantly most of the bigger hail. That's your more favorable area, right? So you get further south, you're still in a favorable area. We're just not in that zone yet, right? But we're starting to get a little bit more action, a little bit more, some reds showing up. I mean, look at all that red trying to show up in Plano. We've got some indications of it's trying to build further south. That's the first sign. We haven't seen that yet. So the first sign of some activity trying to build further south on this line. So if this gets going, then yes, then you're going to pull that activity well south. And then of course you've got the high winds. So we've seen a lot of high winds from this setup. The wind part of it, as this continues to push northeast, there's your higher probability of very destructive winds for the rest of the evening. So that your pink area is your highest area, your red is your next highest area, and then of course your yellow goes all the way down further south. But that is the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center. And of course, you got your tornado watches that are in place. It does not include Fort Worth. It doesn't include Dallas. It doesn't include much of areas further south, I-20, I-30 further south. It does include areas back into Graham, Breckenridge, Mineral Wells, Weatherford, Bridgeport. There's your tornado watch that includes Flower Mound and Plano, northbound into McKinney, Denton, Gunner, Bonham, and this goes all the way into Oklahoma. Of course, it extends all the way into Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, into Nebraska. It extends all the way into Iowa. This goes a long ways, folks. Yeah, Dallas is pretty much on the tail end of it. It's the tail end of the storm. All right, so let's zoom back into this area because I mean you're like, hey, where'd all this rain come from, right? I mean, look at that purple. It's pouring and outside of in Collin County there, just towards heading towards eastern side of Plano right now. So we got torrential rains unfolding. It's really developed pretty quickly as it crossed the George Bush here, and even some lightning strikes. Right, so that's the first sign this activity is even getting stronger as well. So we've got new development that's happening over into the Collin County area, heading towards the city of Murphy, and this will be crossing over Lake Lavon and heading towards Princeton and Farmersville. So Princeton and Farmersville will likely get some heavy rain from this deal, but it's obviously becoming a lot more numerous with this whole line of showers and thunderstorms with some embedded heavier downpours coming through. Yeah, so this is mainly going to be along the I-30 Interstate 35 corridor, runs across Highway 75, and this blends over into Collin County now. Again, moving at a pretty good clip. It's already approaching the Lake Lavon area. So you got to recall these storms are moving very fast, right? Things change very quickly. We weren't really watching much of anything further south about 20 minutes ago. Now it's really blown up across the Metroplex as it's starting to try to fill in fairly nicely. And we're starting to get some Some lightning strikes showing an indication it's trying to get a little bit stronger. Yeah, the sun's out. It's bright as it can be out there. Hey, glad I got you back on because I was thinking we wouldn't get anything until way later. Yeah, surprise, right? So, yeah, not much data. I mean, so yeah, this is new development going into a very favorable environment, right? So it's going into a very favorable, juiced up atmosphere, if you will. And this is not severe, but it's still at least some rain that's moving through Dallas and Collin County here. And we've got some pretty heavy rain unfolding over the city of Murphy, Heritage Parkway, about it looks like 14th Street. This is on the eastern side of Plano. So they're getting some heavier rains through Murphy, Parker, the St. Paul area. Lucas is getting some heavier rain now. This is going to be crossing over Lake Lavon. And now it's going to be heading towards Princeton and Farmersville. So Princeton and Farmersville expect to get some rain out of this deal. Yeah, so New Celis, yeah, look at that. I mean, it's starting to build further south. So things are changing, folks. So this whole area has been pretty much holding its own for the last 2 hours, but this is the first signs that we're trying to get a little bit more lift further south. So we got new development towards Bryson, just south of Jacksboro now, and it's continuing to try to build further south. This is the 380 corridor. This is Highway 380 right here. And this cell would be obviously south of 380. So this may be your beginning stages of activity trying to build further south that would likely impact at least the northern areas of the Metroplex, which was forecasted. Hey, the pressure is killing me. So sorry for the pain. I literally know. Yeah, this could be some, I mean, some very volatile air mass. Let's look at some of the pressures here. Oh wow, 2953. That yeah, the pressure is really low, folks. Yeah, that's that low. It's been continuing to drop. Right now it's 2953. So 29 your barometric pressure. Yeah, a normal atmosphere is around 30. So this has been dropping. Let's see, give you an idea. This morning there was around 2970. So it's gone from 2970 to 2953 since 7 o'clock this morning. So like in the last 10 hours. So if you're kind of really susceptible to barometric pressure, I know my wife is. I could probably ask her. She's like, I probably got a blinding headache right now. You're really feeling this. You're really feeling this system come in, right? I mean, this is low pressure. This is very volatile atmospheres. What you experience when you go through even a tornado or a hurricane type, you get lower pressure. Lower pressure is volatile weather. Yeah, I mean, the lower the pressure, the more unstable it's going to be, the more volatile it's going to be. I mean, that's why a hurricane can drop really significantly low. You got high pressure, that's a ridge, heat, very high pressure, thin air, clear skies, heat, dry, very, very dry. Yeah, this is the opposite. This is very low pressure. Um, yeah, I mean, it's so far away. If you, I mean, this is mainly going to be impacting areas on the northern side of 121. So, is it gonna mess up the stuff from the west? you got the low level jet. This is it's got you got a lot of energy in the atmosphere, coming with that system from the west. Hey, it's really kicked up in the last couple of hours. Hey, it's finally we finally got another area to talk about, right? I know we've been talking about this same area for about what 2.5 hours now. So it's been predominantly, it hasn't really moved. When I literally first came on, it was about towards Henrietta. So it's moved. This is how far it's moved in 2.5 hours. It's gone from Henrietta to basically Bowie. That's not that far. But we are getting a little bit darker reds, right? So we are getting some more stronger activity trying to build towards, Jacksboro. This will likely going to be impacting, Runaway Bay there. I think Runaway Bay the other night had some baseball, had some teacup size hail. The storm report showed 2.75 and 3.25 inches there in Runaway Bay. So they've definitely had their fair share of nasty weather. So we have some more heavy rain really trying to build moving into Dallas now. So you got to realize this is rush hour traffic, folks. You got a lot of people heading on the road, and even this can produce some heavier rain, which would likely slow up travel. It can get difficult sometimes when you got blinding rain trying to drive on a freeway. So just use extra precaution. Leave a safe distance from you and another driver. Uh, on your way home if you got to drive in these conditions. Any hail in South Fort Worth, it's still a ways away if it comes to that. But Fort Worth is not technically under the tornado watch. Is the storm moving away from North DFW? No, this is just two separate activities. This is just a isolated activity over the Metroplex. The main system's this one, the Northwest system. This is the main system. Yes, this is real radar. This is not a future radar. This is what's actually happening right now. I wouldn't say Denton's in the clear by any of the stretch of imagination. You're under the tornado watch. You're under a higher risk for tornadoes, a large hail. Definitely not in the clear. But yeah, I appreciate everyone sending me their videos last night of of all the storms and the Metroplex. That was pretty cool to see everybody's different viewpoints from across the Metroplex. I just get a lot of messages in times like these, so I'm trying to catch up. Looks like there's 30 of them here. Herb. The sun's out in Denton. Has there been any other tornado sporting? Have there been any tornadoes spotted near Wilson, Oklahoma? I know there's been a couple of tornadoes in Oklahoma. There was one by Colgate. I know the tornado was just south of you, towards near that was that big time hell producer. So to my knowledge, I mean, I guess it was near you, it wasn't on top of you. Mm. Hey, it's let's see. You think the watch is an extended? Yeah, I would say so. I mean, when they issued the watch, it was for what, 7 hours. So typically, they don't put watches out for like a long, long time, right? So they're, they give you a 6 or 8 hour window, and if they need to extend it, they'll extend it. So yes, I feel like they would probably extend the watch. Um, hey, Jason. Yeah, unfortunately, Broken Bow definitely looks to be a really favorable area. It's going to be a while, but yeah, all this mess is going to be definitely heading towards the Broken Bow area. This is over here, Idabel. This in this vicinity. You got to realize this is all this stuff's moving east. This stuff's moving east. Everything's going to kind of come together. So yeah, Broken Bow is unfortunately going to be in a really favorable area. It's just going to be a while. So definitely keep your head up there, Jason, and Broken Bow. It's probably going to turn downhill later tonight. Hey, I live south of Wilson. That was right down the road from my house. Yeah, Sherman area. Again, you got pretty nice weather in Sherman right now. So, but you're under a favorable area. This is kind of drifting your way. So, um, this is finally starting to bend a little bit further south. So, we're finally getting a little bit of a southward tent here. So, hey, but it's still a ways away from Denton, 380 area. If you can get out, what we should right now. Yeah, I mean, if you can get out now, I mean, you got it's still a ways away. You got at least a good 2 hours. Yeah, it's only 10 o'clock. I mean, the main time frame for the Metroplex was likely 5 to 11. That's kind of what I had in my mind, 5 to 11. That data really hasn't changed. So I know I came on earlier, and Oklahoma started around 1 o'clock. So it was already starting in Oklahoma. So, but nothing's really changed in the data. Nothing's really changed in the projections. It's Nothing's really changed in the timeline. So they probably will be extending the tornado watch tonight. So it's just still very kind of a little early. When stuff storms forms west, it takes a while to be east. So we got these setups that form, northwest into Wichita Falls, west of Abilene, west of Weatherford. They take a little bit to go through and get towards the Metroplex. Those are just radar sites to tap into. Those little dots. These are all different radars from the National Weather Service. It's like 260 of them. Yeah, pouring in Princeton now. So now you're getting the heavier rain. It hit Princeton. There you go. Yeah, so it's starting to pour now off Highway 380, right outside of Princeton. Yeah, it's a moving pretty good clip here. Wouldn't say it's going to be any floods, but it's going to lay down some pretty heavy rain in a short amount of time. You got some more, deeper reds, even some purples back up into the historic district now, back in, going back into to downtown Dallas, approaching the Interstate 30 corridor. You got activity passing through Swiss Avenue area. That'll head towards Lake Highlands, the Lake Highlands region. Eventually, this will swing into Garland. Yeah, Stormy, thank you. Get drink some water. Yeah, sunny and pouring in Princeton. Yeah, you probably got sun. You got sun in the front yard and pouring in the backyard. Yeah, Lake Lavon is getting a little bit now. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, these are quick downpour. These are pretty much quick downpours that are coming in, that are mainly east of 75 there in Collin County. Yeah, looks like the southern tail's trying to fade out a little bit out towards Waco, but the northern branch is still kind of holding its own. So we're going to watch if any if any cells are going to try to move a little bit further south, and we might have another potential beginning stages of a possible another tornado here. Remember, we got this is the leading edge of the squall line here, and this looks to try to extend further south. This is that same supercell we've been tracking for a while that's come out of Nakona that dropped that significant hail core, and yeah, the city of St. Joe, and then dropped that tornado outside of Colgate. And now it's leaving some more, baseball, continue to drop baseball size hail. Okay, so there you go. We got a developing. This is a brand new situation, right? So this is the extension we've been kind of talking about. We've been watching. So you had the backfilling, right? It started out as just a normal garden variety shower. It's got a little bit stronger. Now it's turned severe. So now we have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning further south. So this does include Montague, Jack, Wise County. So we have a developing storm that has just now blown up over Jacksboro. So this is north of Jacksboro, moving east at 30 miles an hour. So this is the southern tilt we've been expecting. So this is the southern extension that we've been looking for all evening long, and it might not stop there. So we have more development even further south. So the further south this extends, the higher the probability this is gonna go into the metroplex. This is further south. It's going to be able to go into the metroplex here. So we'll be watching this activity out west in the northwest to see how it evolves as it goes towards towards the metroplex here. But nonetheless, we've got that brand new severe thunderstorm warning for that supercell that's continuing to strengthen. You can definitely see the the deeper purples starting to build just north of 281 there, right along 148 there, and really maximizing it, really extending. You can see the deepening purple getting a little bit more numerous here as this continues to lift off to the northeast. So obviously, if this is able to continue, it's likely going to impact just north of 380, but the southern tilt is definitely happening. Hey, winds are about 45 miles an hour here. Wind generator is going nuts. Mineral wells. Yeah, I mean, I would say unless something drastic happens, I think mineral wells might be in the outskirts. But again, we'll just have to watch these development, how far south it's able to get. So this is continuing to show signs of strengthening and pushing it further and further south. So, hey, just joining. Is it all supposed to move towards Dallas? Well, Dallas isn't officially under the tornado watch, but it is expected to be north of Dallas, primarily north of 121, ideally north of 380. But we're watching a little bit of a southward jog at the moment, and that will be, you know, a beginning factor of it moving a little bit further south. Hey, I think Prosper is going to be all right tonight. I mean, Prosper is north of 380, so I mean, this is way early to say that. It's only 6 o'clock, so you got another 5 more hours. I think Prosper. Let's see, Durant, Oklahoma. Yeah, Durant's one of those things too. If you live north of 380, northeast areas, Melissa, Durant, Trenton, Bailey, Bonham, Broken Bow, those are really favorable areas. All right, so that storm that produced so now we have a confirmed tornado over McAllister. All right, so it looks like we have yet another confirmed tornado in Oklahoma. So this is another confirmed tornado in Oklahoma. Actually, an extremely large tornado. So this is the most significant day. So we have a significant tornado on the ground over the city of Blancos. This is over the city of Blanco, moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. This is a particularly dangerous situation as we speak. So this is a life-threatening situation. It is a confirmed tornado. This is southern Pittsburgh County within Oklahoma here. There's the city of Pittsburgh. Wow. So we got an extremely large tornado that is on the ground. This is the city of Pittsburgh County. This is Pittsburgh County. That is the big city of McAllister. We actually talked about this was the confirmed tornado, and it could have been the second one. So this was the confirmed one earlier. We talked about it was heading towards the city of McAllister, and here it is. It's actually getting a little bit stronger. It's actually even a little bit bigger now. It's moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. So again, an extremely large, damaging tornado on the ground just north of McAllister. Now it's 5 miles south of Alderson. 5 miles south of Alderson, moving northeast at 35 miles an hour. So Gowen, Higgins, Blocker, Robbers Cove State Park, looks like Wilburton, Hartstone, Featherston, back into Panola, Quinton, those areas into Alderson need to be in your safe zone immediately. Wow, look at this, folks. This is a very large tornado into Alderson, folks. That is a massive tornado on the ground doing likely life-threatening damage here. An extremely large tornado is on the ground right now, coming out of McAllister, just outside of Alderson. This is the city of Alderson here, and this is a very dangerous developing tornado as we speak, continuing to do a lot of damage on the ground and likely a debris ball and lifting northeast at 35 miles an hour. There's the city of Wilburton. If we swing out, you can see the Texas Red River. There's the city of Paris. There is McAllister. So this has been a confirmed tornado that it dropped some very significant hail into St. Joe, and then it went tornadic towards Colgate. It dropped a tornado just outside of Colgate. Now we're talking an extremely large tornado on the ground as it's crossing past Alderson, moving pretty quickly. There's Adamson, the city of Adamson, and they're extended the tornado warning for good reason. Going to be approaching the Quinton area. So between Wilburton and Quinton are going to be next in line with this very dangerous tornado that is on the ground. Hey, another pinwheel developing just north of Locust, Groves, Mays County, Oklahoma. Winds are 45 to 50 now. The wind barometer is going bonkers. Yeah, it's a massive tornado, folks. Yeah, this is a serious situation developing an extremely large, damaging tornado that is on the ground as we speak. I'm sure the sirens are going off, and rightfully so. Just as 5 miles south of Alderson. So 5 miles south of Alderson. I mean, you can see it. It sticks out like a sore thumb here. This is the city of Alderson. There is your tornado right there. Pretty massive tornado that is on the ground. 270. There's County Road 270 there. And this is continuing to lift. Going to be crossing between Wilburton and Quinton. Wilburton and Quinton is going to be next in line of this dangerous supercell. Dangerous tornado. Yes, this is live right now at 6:12, Shelly. Yeah, this is you've caught a live feed. This is a brand new live tornado that is on the ground currently, May 19th, 6:12 in the evening. There's the city of Alderson crossing over 270. The business road 270. Adamson's going to take a beating from this storm. And then it's continuing to Drum, Chile, Dijon, Degnan, and then likely between Wilburton and Quinton. No, there's no tornado in Allen, Texas right now. So this is the city of Allen. There's Waters Creek. There's nothing going on in Allen. Hey, pal. Thanks for everything you do. Is McKinney looking like anything's going to happen tonight? Yeah, I think so. It's just going to be a while. It's just still pretty early on. Everything's pretty much still west. It's still a good ways from McKinney. All right, so things are starting to light up big time in Oklahoma. We've got several tornadoes that are on the ground right now. That's probably at least the 5th or 6th one I know of tonight in Oklahoma. Hey, I love you, Oklahoma. Praying for Southeast Texas, part of the state. trust me, we'll be able to hear it if there's a tornado here. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, there is an extremely large tornado on the ground near Alderson. It looks like it's continued to be on the ground. It's just south of the city of Alderson there, lifting northeast. So lifting northeast. All right, so this continues to lift northeast. Still a damaging tornado that is on the ground right now outside of Alderson, Oklahoma. There's the city of McAllister, Hearthstone. This is approaching Wilburton and Quinton. Wilburton and Quinton are going to be the crosshairs of this storm tonight. All right, let's see what else is going on. Well, if anything, it was trying to build further south, and it just it's kind of lost its luster a little bit. Yeah, this does at least at the time being, it doesn't appear it's going to be trying to build further south at the moment. And a lot of the stuff that was over is actually kind of winding down as well. So just kind of blew up a little bit, and now it's kind of faded out. Hey, let's hope it stays that way. Will it hit Sherman? Yeah, Sherman's in a again a favorable spot tonight. You're not really that far away from this activity, so it is bending a little bit further off to the east southeast. So you're likely an hour and a half, 2 hours away in Sherman. Mm-hmm. What else? What else? Yeah, very, very serious situation in Oklahoma tonight, folks. Let's look at this one. So we got the southern edge of this trying to cross, portions of the Red River here. It's just very subtle. It's just taking its sweet time. What about Collin County? What about McKinney? Guys, you're killing me. Yeah, you see McKinney. There's not much happening. There's Denton. There's Frisco. There's Flower Mountain. Everything's northwest still. We're still a couple hours away. You think the storm should weaken before it gets there, just west of St. Louis? Is there a storm getting? Should I be concerned about? I mean, again, even from St. Louis, it's going to be a ways away. But yes, the activity will be moving in your direction, but it's going to be well into the evening time frame. Ugh. Oh man, I hope it misses us tonight. I mean, once this clears out tonight, that you're it's a nice day tomorrow, folks. It's there's not anything happening tomorrow at all. You got really clear. You got a cold front. A cold front will be coming in, and it's going to be really nice. No, this isn't an all evening event. It's you know pretty nasty stuff for an hour or two, and then it pushes through. But right now, we'll just have to watch it evolve, folks. This is like where we're what we're doing. We just have to watch it evolve. Everything's northwest. Yes, something different. How was the farmers market over the weekend? It was actually really cool. So yes, they invited me out there. Yeah, it's been around for 50 years. That's pretty cool. Tons of vendors. It was packed. It's actually one of the number one uh, farmers markets out there. There's like 80 vendors. Of course, it's a long wait list to try to get a booth. I mean, there's like 200 something people on the wait list. I heard. But yeah, it's pretty cool. They have it every single Saturday from 8 to 12, rain or shine. Doesn't know matter what the weather is. And yeah, lots of cool vendors. I brought back some beef jerky. I brought back what else? I bring back some cookies. I don't know, all kinds of stuff. uh, but yeah, it was kind of cool to be out there, and a lot of people came up and said hello and took some pictures with me. And so yeah, I'll be doing more of those events. I used to do some appreciation parties and some meet and greets. I've done those in the past. Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm glad you meet you in person. Yeah, always cool to watch and see some of the people that follow me out there and hear their pal stories when they first found me or something. And oh, I started following you during the weather the cold blast of 2021, and or I found you during the Prosper tornado, or yeah, it's always pretty cool to hear the stories out there. Hey, praying for the best, praying for the worst. We need to come up and build us. We need you to come out and build us a shelter. Hey, no problem. I'll be happy to do it. We got plenty of shelters. Hey, next time you do that, pal, you should record it and share it with us all. Oh, what, the McKinney's Farmers Market? Yeah, so I had a little booth out there, and then I had a couple, I guess, speaking engagements where the kids came in and kind of asked their questions about storms and weather and stuff, and had some prizes to give away. And hey, I started following you about 2 years ago when Safe Harbor on Lake Lewisville was destroyed. I turned my ACL 2 days before. Wow. Yeah, let's look at the models. I mean, they just weren't very helpful. But yeah, we can definitely look at the latest high resolution guidance. Okay, this is all right. So this is the brand new latest hourly update. So this is your high resolution guidance, if you will. All right, so there's 6 o'clock. I mean that, yeah, that kind of resembles what the atmosphere looks like right now. So it's actually, that's not that bad. All right, so there's 7 o'clock. So all right, so it's kind of showing some indications of it trying to build a little bit further south now, right? So we've been watching that trend. So far this one's fairly resembling what may occur. I would agree with this. And then there's 8 o'clock. So there's 8 o'clock approaching the I-35 corridor. There's 9 o'clock. Could have a cell just north of Sherman, Denison. There's 9 o'clock. There's 10 o'clock. There you go. There's the latest high resolution guidance. It doesn't seem to be pushing anything too far south. Let's look at the one before. So that was the latest hour. This is the previous hour, right? So we'll see the difference. So that's 5, that's 6. Okay, so this is 7. This was the run before. There's 8. You see, there's 9. Fairly similar. Yeah, it doesn't have too much further south, huh? It doesn't want to build it too much into North Texas. Yeah, most of the high resolution, I guess most of the high resolution guidances before had had a lot of activity here, right? Maybe this morning or yet yesterday had a lot more activity than what some of the short range models are showing now. But yes, we're starting to see the build further south. That was like one of the model runs. But yes, predominantly it was kind of favoring everything staying north into Oklahoma. Sounds like West McKinney may be in the clear. I mean, on on days like this, it's hard to take that to verbatim, especially how these models have really not been very good lately. But yes, it shows a higher probability of it, uh, you know, staying mostly in Oklahoma. Oh, your wife is in my networking group at the McKinney Networking downtown. Cool. Hey, Tommy Haynes, right now the sun is out, clear skies. Lake Dallas. I don't think much is happening in Lake Dallas tonight. But yeah, it's pretty potent in Oklahoma, that's for sure. Everything's going according to plan in Oklahoma. It just hasn't pushed terribly too far south into North Texas. It's not really building. It's been predominantly kind of in that same general vicinity for a long time. We've been live for 3 hours, and it's like watching this. It's literally gone from Henrietta to Bowie. I mean, that's just not very far at all. So it's been a feast or famine night, right? I mean, they're just taking a beating. If you live in this area, it's like, you got significant hail, you got 70, 80 mile per hour winds, you got numerous tornado warnings, and then you just go outside of that and you get nothing, right? So that's the nature of the beast with severe weather. And then, hey, Angie, it doesn't appear so, right? It doesn't appear so at the moment. That's for sure. We're not really seeing any signs of that moving that way. We had some development over Dallas. It blew up fairly nicely, and it went right back down. It wasn't severe, but it definitely had pockets of heavy rain and likely some elevated storms. And it's, based on what we're looking at, it's likely the cap again. You always hate to say it. It's like it's always one of those things of, which is always a good thing, folks. I'm not for saying we want all this severe weather, but you always, again, it's like a broken record. You got to forecast what the atmosphere gives you, and then you have one little piece of the puzzle. I know they were going to send out a weather balloon at 1:30 from the National Weather Service. I don't really know what the outcome was on that. Um, hmm, what in the world? Wow. So I'm looking at the National Weather Service from last night, folks, and they did their surveys in West Texas. Now, this wasn't Collin County, this was West Texas. Seven confirmed tornadoes last night. Seven confirmed tornadoes. They had one. This was May 18th, last night on Sunday. Remember, um, and we were actually live for it dropped that storm in Santo, but an EF0 in Morton Valley, that's in Eastland, an EF1 in Mingus, Palo Pinto County, an EF1 in Gordon, Palo Pinto County, EF0, Santo, another EF0 in Santo, um, another EF0. So yeah, we actually, there looks to be small tornadoes, and EF0 is from 65 to 85, and EF1 is 95 or sorry, 85 to like 100. So it looks to be between 65 miles an hour and 100 miles per hour, but based on their research, based on the findings, it appears to be seven tornadoes from last night. And that's maybe not counting what happened over, Denton and Collin County. So they'll be out there probably tomorrow surveying whatever came out of that. But yeah, a little surprise, folks. That was, even though they are small, but seven seven tornadoes came out of that last night. So if there's like any separation, if you've got, the way they do these, if you have a tornado that touched down, right? And then it lost a lot of its circulation and pulsed back up, and then it moves about 5 miles away, and then it regains its circulation and goes back down to the surface, then that forms another tornado. If you've got a tornado that is on the ground, that stays on the ground, that continues to be on the ground for 10 miles, 20 miles, 50 miles, 100 miles, and it stays intact, the same circulation stays intact for that extended duration, say for 100 miles, then that's considered one tornado. Right? If that same circulation breaks up and it drops a tornado and loses its circulation and then drops another one 20 miles later, that's two tornadoes. So that's how they do it. But so yeah, it's pretty surprising to hear seven tornadoes last night. All right, so it looks like we have that same tornado that uh, continues to be on the ground outside of Oklahoma. So another confirmed tornado that is on the ground near the city of Gore. So this is moving east at 60 miles an hour. So another confirmed tornado in Oklahoma. So everything continues to be in Oklahoma tonight. Um, so another dangerous tornado that is on the ground that continues to come out of the Gore, Oklahoma. So this would be, I guess, north of Wilburton. Looks to be another. Uh, so this is northeast of Wilburton. So it's another significant tornado that is unfortunately on the ground outside of Gore, heading east at 60 miles an hour. If you had to guess, what do you think caused the change in the model runs from earlier today, projecting more southerly tracks? Um, yeah, my first blush would be the cap, right? I know that sounds uh, always the same, but yeah, I mean, anytime you have any, and it was pretty fairly somewhat evident when you had that all that precipitation trying to form, and then we had a lightning strike, and it just pulsed back down again. So and these are just more elevated storms, right? They form on top of the boundary layer on basically on top of the cap. So if we're not getting much, then it seems like there's some sort of inversion that's keeping this from kind of taking off. Because I mean, it's not like I mean the atmosphere is prime. I mean, you know it's prime because you know what's happening in Oklahoma, right? I mean, it's these are there's not that much difference between Oklahoma and just on the outskirts of North Texas. So um, so yeah, definitely surprised the seven tornadoes in last night. So that'll add to the tornado count for sure. That adds a lot of tornadoes to the tornado count for sure for um, for North Texas. I mean, that's in the outskirts, but that's still specifically that's in the North Texas vicinity. Hey, any good apps for the DFW era that work well when the internet is down? I like Weather Underground to me. That's you can always access that to your phone. I mean, that's pretty accurate. I use that one a lot, and of course, my app. I got my own app as well, but what time in Melissa? That again, if it remains to be seen if it actually happens into Melissa. So it's still been well west. We haven't seen that southern jog yet. So we're going to see if we got the extension in about 20 minutes or so. So this is going to be making a transition eventually, drifting further south. So it's just like watching paint dry here. Um, yeah, again, predominantly been in the same exact areas, but it's slowly drifting south. All right, so we had a little shower that came through Allen here. Little shower, likely some heavier rains that's going to approaching the Fairview area, and that'll impact likely downtown McKinney here shortly. It's moving pretty quick, like 50 miles an hour northbound, right up 75. But here's the southward tilt. It's trying to fill in. I mean, it's just literally taking its sweet time. It's been just training, really kind of training over the same areas, if you will. Yeah, here's the. So you've gone from Henrietta. We'll just say there. That's 39 miles. All right. So it's been 3.5 hours. It's gone 39 miles to the east. So what is that? 10 miles an hour? uh, it's only moved about 10 miles an hour to the east because it's mainly moving northeast. Yeah, so I would basically say that's crawling. It's not moving very far. It's been predominantly the same areas. Yeah, so just not getting that southward tilt, and we're just not getting the progression eastbound. And there's nothing forming in the middle, and the you know. Hey, Noah Radio, of course, but we even in the. Hey, pal, just jumping on to see. Wow, where did it go? Where did it go? Where we are at the tornado was. Well, I had missed much. Everything's been in Oklahoma. They're getting all kinds of weather in Oklahoma for sure. Um, but yeah, in North Texas, just hadn't been much at all, really. Everything's northwest, and it's looking more likely it might stay that way. So we're just not seeing the progression like some of the the data was showing. Just even on the northern side of the metroplex, we still have the tornado watch. I mean, that's still in place. This tornado watch goes until 9 o'clock. So kind of catch everybody up to speed. Here's the tornado watch. Graham, Breckenridge, Mineral Wells, Bridgeport. It doesn't include Fort Worth or Dallas, but does include Flower Mound, Plano, Denton, Frisco, McKinney, Gainesville, Sherman. These are areas that just hasn't seen anything at all. It's been waiting for the stuff out west. Denton, Bonham, most everything's been in Oklahoma. They've been taking a beating in Oklahoma. A lot of tornadoes have happened. Yeah, 50-50, Lacey. Yeah, welcome to my world. 50-50. It's pretty much always 50-50. Yeah. That's you know, like I said, that's what makes DFW probably one of the more difficult places to forecast the weather. Right? That's like, you always have so many dynamics in play. Um, you can tell when there's no cap. I mean, it's pretty easy. You go from nothing in 15 minutes to just supercells. Boom, boom. Um, when you have some sort of blockage or something that's stopping, that cap is going to be the telltale sign always. That's going to be the making breaking point. I've seen marginal risk days drop you have three tornadoes. I've seen moderate days that go absolutely nothing. It happens, right? So, I mean, it's it is one of those things across North Texas. You always have to forecast what the atmosphere gives you, and again, if a storm enters this environment, it's going to take off. There's no two ways about it. But if there's something stopping it, it's just it's it's not going to happen. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. It's feast or famine. You get all or nothing. There is no in between. Hi, Ivana. Yes, I am live now. This your art. You're not watching a recorded tape or an old tape. I am physically live right now, May 19th, 6:46. I know sometimes people comment on like old lives and it pops it up on the back up into the algorithm and people start watching it and it's like from 2 months ago. Um, but yeah, this is a current live as physically as we're looking at live radar on May 19th. You know, 6:46 in the evening here. Y'all hear my dog snoring? Even he's tired. He's like, I'm over this. I'm not. It's not gonna rain. You said it was gonna rain. It's not happening. Look at Fairview. Fairview's taking some pretty good downpour here. Lowry Crossing. This little cell is approaching at least downtown McKinney here, so McKinney will get a little quick shower, at least on the downtown side of it. But wow, as you can imagine, with this kind of training over the same general area, they're under numerous flood warnings across Oklahoma. These cells just really haven't gone anywhere, right? You've had 1 to 3 inches. Looks like 1 to 3 inches has fallen from this cell that just keeps training over the same area. You got another tornado. This flood warning. This is just lined up with flood warnings because it's literally just been training over the same areas for what 3.5 hours now. It just hasn't really moved, and sometimes it'll drop a tornado or two. You want out? Come on. Hey, back to back storms are causing me to go back to back panic attacks, and I'm just ready to go to sleep now. I understand. I know. It is one of those things. Hey, Brianna. Yeah, McKinney's looking good at the moment. It doesn't look favorable tonight, but you still have to watch this and to see if anything pops. It's not trending that way, but I mean, you never know in this environment. It's just a very very volatile environment, but obviously the cap is winning out. I mean, that's the simple answer. If you So is North Texas going to be fine? If not, yeah, I mean the way it looks right now, it looks like most of North Texas is. I don't want to get ahead of myself again. I mean, but it's not looking as favorable if it was. I can put it to you that way. Yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for the shift. It hasn't really shifted. It's been riding, it's been riding that coaster. It's been training over the same areas. It's almost like you got a block, and every time it builds, it's been trying to build further south, and every time it gets blocked. it's been literally the same thing happening for several hours now. It's continuing to move over the same areas, and if anything, that's actually kind of shrinking, right? It looks like it's actually kind of shrinking a little bit. It's not even as pronounced and as much as it was even into Oklahoma. It seems like most of the instability is actually shifting northeast, and frankly, it's going to Arkansas. It looks like to me, uh, yeah, it definitely looks like a lot of the instability. Yeah, you see these more. This is where our numerous tornado warnings are unfolding. This is where a lot of energy seems to be going. There's nothing. It's pretty easy to build storms in this area, but it's been like pulling teeth to get it to move east in any. It's like, "Hey, you're not coming my way. It's not happening." Hey, it's feeling very cool right now, Melissa. All of a sudden, you might be getting some of that outflow, right? I mean, let's see, is it cooled down? Has it cooled down, or maybe it just feels that way? It just hasn't doesn't appear to be any lower in temperature from what I'm seeing. I mean, it's dropping because it's obviously 6:30 and not 4:30 anymore, but it's still 82 degrees. Uh, so you're Rain and McKinney, bad storm. Yeah, so you're getting that one little cell. We've been kind of looking at very quick shower. Even that's kind of fizzling out now. Yeah, so you got a little quick shower over eastern sides of McKinney there. They're going to be heading towards Melissa. Very thin shower. Not expecting much. I mean, even this severe warning got extended, but man, it didn't even move hardly at all. It's not really even moving. It's just not doing it. Hey, you can see a double rainbow from the back door south of Wilson. Oh wow. So that was near that tornado earlier. It's probably the best part after a storm. You get some of the clearing out and you get the rainbow on the backside. You seem to always get the rainbow on the backside. It's just really cool. Well, that's what I mean, Mark. See, that's what I mean. You think you're good until you're not, right? So it just kind of exploded over Denton, and then when it went into Collin County. So that's last night what that was not in the high resolution models. It wasn't in the data or anything. So that's why I'm like, okay, well, just hang tight here and see if we can watch the trends. And but every time I think this is building again further south, and it looks like it's trying to make another run, right? You're getting a little more deep purples, and but we're not seeing any progression whatsoever towards the east. It's just not happening. It's like nothing's trying to build further east here. Yeah, rain into Melissa. Yeah, that's that little quick shower you're gonna get. Not gonna last long. Yeah, just enjoy the little cool down. I mean, you're probably You're probably cooling down because you got that rain shower over you. You definitely have some significant winds that's on the eastern side of a buoy here. Some very 65-mile-per-hour winds. This storm's produced a history of ping pong to golf ball size hail. Is it just me, or does this storm look like it's starting to move south? I don't know. We've been waiting. I've been waiting for a southward tilt. I don't know. I haven't seen the southward tilt, but uh, I mean, it's basically been predominantly around the Red River for 3.5 hours. I just, it, I mean, if it is, it's just barely crawling. Like I showed you earlier, it's went 39 miles over 3.5, nearly 4 hours. So that's literally crawling at 10 miles an hour to the east. Yeah, it's starting to rain in Blue Ridge. Hey, Christina. Yeah, that was that little shower that's going to be over here. Yeah, but it's not going to last long at all. There's Blue Ridge right over you until it's not. But definitely Oklahoma's had some very heavy rain tonight for sure. I mean, look at these train tracks. I mean, they've had some significant rainfall. Check out Ardmore. That's 3, 4 inches. This is basically what happens when these storms don't move. It's an all or nothing situation. It's you get everything in a very compact area, and just outside of that, you get nothing. There's good 2, 3, 4 inches of heavy rainfall. They've had tornadoes, they've had flash flooding, they've had significant winds, they've had significant hail. Yeah, but that's a good solid 2 to 3 inches. Probably your highest totals are right there near Ardmore, upwards to 4 inches. All right, so you had this was the stuff that came through Dallas, left a good about half inch in areas, quarter inch in some. There's downtown Dallas, good quarter inch there. Here's was the eastern side of Plano. That's a good little half inch. So it's not like you haven't seen anything. There's been definitely some areas. There's a little shower that went through downtown McKinney, 1/10 of an inch. Hmm. Hey, Cap is starting to build in. Another possible bust. Well, it's definitely looking like it. I mean, it's 7 o'clock. I obviously I thought things were going to be pretty lit up by then, but we've not seen the transition east. It just hasn't happened. Um, okay, while we're on the cap, let's look at this. This 7 o'clock. I mean, there's not really. there's really not that much. I mean, to me, there's not much cap, and this is set at least on the high resolution models. I mean, I'm looking at this. I'm like, this is your cap, right? This is your sin, and you've got building. Let's see. All right, so there's 8 o'clock. All right, yeah, it builds in. All right, folks. But even with a no cap, even with hardly any cap, it's still not lighting up. So there's where we are right now. That's 7 o'clock, and there's not much, right? I mean, it should be we even with little to no cap here, we've got not much happening in the metroplex. But as we go towards the 8 o'clock, you see the deeper red starting to build in. You've got 9 o'clock. The cap's really building in. There's 10 o'clock now, so eh, yeah, it looks like the cap won another one. All right, so let's go back. 10, 11, 12. All right, so everything's been predominantly in Oklahoma tonight. Hey, it's good. I mean, you don't want this stuff anyways, right? I mean, it's these. It's not like I'm trying to, it's always good when this does not happen because you know what the opposite was, right? Look, I mean, look at this. Look at all these diamonds. This is all hell reports. This is quarter inch. There's half dollar. There's golf ball. There's baseball. There's 2 inch. There's 60, 70 mile per hour winds. There's all kinds of tornadoes. We had 7 or 8 tornadoes. I mean, this is when it didn't hold, right? So, I mean, this is what North Texas dodged is this stuff right here. So, I mean, it's always a good thing when it doesn't happen. No one wants destruction on their house and cars and stuff. But it definitely appears that going through the latest data and some of the modeling and just the trend of what we've been watching all night long is it's pretty much winding down, folks. Everything's pretty much going to be in Oklahoma, staying far north. Nothing's really been progressing further off to the east. So yeah, it's one of those things. Obviously, I'll probably keep an eye on it. But I mean, we've been watching the same radar for the last 3 or 4 hours, so it hasn't really progressed. Even further off to the southeast. Everything's pretty much in Oklahoma. If anything, it's pushing. Like I mentioned, it's pushing even further northeast. It's actually most of the instability is actually going into Arkansas and heading into Missouri and into the evening time frame. It looks like that's the trend to me. Yeah, no alpacas were harmed in this storm. That's true. Yeah, the alpacas were good tonight. All right, guys. Yeah, that's it. That's a good thing, right? Cap won this. Cap won another one. We can send the all clear. If there's something drastically might happen between now and 10 o'clock, I'll definitely be posting about it. Come back on live or something. But the trend is your friend, and it looks like for the most part, North Texas is pretty much going to be in the clear tonight from this one. All right, guys. Hey, thanks for watching. Y'all be safe out there. Bye, y'all.